Chapter 221, Fishing for the Deep-Sea Demon Whale King. Teacher is Crazy, Part 1. One Spirit King, 5 Spirit Ancestors, and more than 10 Spirit Grandmasters and Spirit Elders. If this were a Soul Master competition lineup, it would be terrifying. Too bad we aren't back then, someone muttered. They say the Soul Master competition is restarting next year. Teacher already arranged for students to enter before heading out to sea. Too bad we followed Teacher. If we'd stayed, maybe this year we could have taken the championship and fixed that regret. What's a Soul Master trophy compared to the chance to go to sea with Teacher? That's the real prize. Sisters, don't move. Let me spray them to death. Shuyuer stepped out of the cabin in a flowing sky-blue robe, planted herself on the railing, pointed at the pirates below, and snorted. The tattoo-like ink on her face had faded to a wheatish tan after days of skin regeneration from the sea spirit fluid. It would return to pale in a few days, but her skin was recovering more slowly than the ink. There are a lot of beautiful girls here. I can smell maiden perfume. Leader, I like that little one. Can I have her? One of the Mara sisters called. Spray me to death? Heh, if I catch you, I'll drain you dry, joked another. Humph. Besides Teacher, who else deserves that? Shuyuer answered, and 5 spirit rings, 2 yellow, 1 purple, 2 black, popped into being around her. A verdant blue ring condensed before her, and the tides within it rose like living water. Faintly formed dolphin-dragon shapes streaked through the surge, and the torrent slammed into a 4-ring spirit ancestor pirate without leaving him any defense. He flew like an iron ball and crashed into the waves. The tidal column swung and struck the sea demon ship, gouging a huge dent in its hull. At the same time, Gu Qingbo, Shen Liuyu, and Chu Ruoshui, newly strengthened by their 5th spirit abilities, unleashed their moves. Ice Crocodile Charge, Lotus Spear Soul Sever, Shark Drill Shipbreaker. In minutes, the Purple Pearl pirate gang, who had come for robbery, gained neither treasure nor captives. More than half their crew were badly wounded or thrown overboard. The sea demon vessel itself, hammered by the spirit kings and ancestors, shattered, took on water, and sank beneath the waves right before the eyes of its stunned leader, Hyder. Hyder had seen the Peach Blossom cruise in vast sea city before. It had been under renovation then. He'd asked about the owner and been told it belonged to the 7-treasure glazed tile school as a shoreside ship for a mainland guest's long voyage. When the Peach Blossom sailed near the Demon Whale Sea area, his scouts had watched through telescopes and seen very few people on board and no guard detail. The pirates had assumed mainlanders lacked sailing experience, a profitable target. A ship that size alone was worth seizing. They'd expected the strongest on board to be around a 40th-something level spirit ancestor. Impressive for youth, but no match for seasoned pirates. The odds looked good. Who would have guessed those pretty 20-something girls were all spirit kings? And not just any spirit kings, their combat power far exceeded the norm. Even Hyder, a spirit king in his 50s, was being played with like a toy. Finally, defeated and humiliated, Hyder knelt on the Peach Blossom's deck and begged, "We surrender. Please, noble young spirit kings, spare our lives. You pirates are shameless. You rob when you want to rob, and surrender when it suits you?" Shuyuer said, rubbing her fists, half amused, half annoyed. "I haven't even had enough fun yet. Teacher was right," she said to herself. Same situation, different power. The outcome changes everything. Spirit abilities honed over 20,000 years were formidable. Though Shuyuer's spirit power read only 51 to 52, the force she unleashed rivaled a Spirit Emperor's 6th ability. She looked down at the few surviving pirates as nothing but entertainment after long days at sea, dolls to test strength on. "What should we do with them, Teacher?" she shouted toward the ship's upper deck. From the top deck, a faint voice replied. Hyder and the pirates looked up in terror and clawed over one another, scrambling and begging. "Teacher, don't throw us to the Demon Whale Sea. We'll give you all our gold. Just spare us. We'll never dare again." "Don't call me Teacher." Suran's voice cut through, cold and indifferent. "I don't have students like you. You're experts at kneeling and begging. Throw them in." Below, the wounded pirates had already lured a pack of bloodthirsty great white sharks. The sharks tore into bodies, the water churning with blood. "Yes, Teacher," came the obedient shout. Duguyan and Shuyuer didn't hesitate. they kicked the remaining pirates into the ocean one by one. The weaker ones made no splash, only the tearing of flesh as sharks did the rest. Hyder, the leader, panicked and activated his spirit to flee, but the surrounding sharks, baited by his blood, swarmed him. He was carried away, shrieking as the sea consumed him. "This peach blossom teacher is ruthless," someone muttered in awe. The Mara sisters were stunned by both Shuiyuer's power and the cold efficiency of the peach blossom's teacher. Shuiyuer had not exaggerated. Up on the top deck, Suran remained calm. The Purple Pearl gang was large, but he wasn't worried. He wasn't interested in fighting them as much as he was in what the commotion had attracted. Great white sharks and black sea demons zoomed and circled, valuable sea creatures all. He had one thing in mind: blood-bright bait. A precious lure from the system, blood-bright bait smelled of blood and could enhance a spirit beast's blood key and lifespan. Suran had been saving it, but now, with the sea reddened by pirate blood, he finally put the bait on his hook and cast it out. At once, something strange happened. Instead of swarming around the bait, the sharks and black sea demons scattered, fleeing at high speed as if running for their lives. Suran's eyes narrowed. This was wrong. The float dipped. Then an enormous force surged from beneath the waves, so powerful the peach blossom lurched and tilted 30 degrees. Suran leapt into the air, suspended over the side of the ship, and shouted to Shui Binger, who was nearby. "Children, run! Teacher has hooked a top-tier giant. If you don't run now, you'll be eaten by sharks too. Binger, tell the captain to take you away at full speed. Leave now." Chapter 2 and 22, Fishing the Deep-Sea Demon Whale King. Teacher has gone mad, Part 2. Ah, teacher, what happened? Hearing Taoyuan teacher's grave voice, Shui Binger didn't hesitate. She rushed to the cockpit and shouted to the Mara sisters, "Full speed ahead! Any direction. Just get us out of here!" Okay. Mara shifted the gears to the highest setting and shoved the forward throttle to the stops. The peach blossom burst forward, surging past 30 knots. Even so, it couldn't escape the danger zone in time. Above the roiling water, a figure hovered, trailing dust, gripping a sea-blue fishing rod so hard it was bent into a crescent. Successfully attracted the deep-sea demon whale king. The deep-sea demon whale king has taken the bait, triggering rewards for fishing the million-year spirit beast, deep-sea demon whale king. Fishing the deep-sea demon whale king for 15 minutes grants the host a 5,000-year increase to all spirit ring lifespans. Fishing the deep-sea demon whale king for 30 minutes increases the host's entire spirit ring and spirit bone lifespans by 10,000 years. Fishing the deep-sea demon whale king for 1 hour increases the host's entire spirit ring and spirit bone lifespans by 20,000 years and rewards one 20,000-year spirit bone. For every additional hour, an extra 10,000-year lifespan reward will be granted, along with several water element cultivation techniques, ultimate skills, and artifact refining materials. Fishing the deep-sea demon whale king to the surface rewards 3 opportunities to draw matching weapons for disciples and 7 water element spirit ring and spirit bone enhancement elixirs. Fishing the deep-sea demon whale king to leap from the water rewards a top-grade mount, a juvenile water-repelling golden-eyed beast. Fishing the deep-sea demon whale king to remain leaping for more than 2 hours. Reward, divine-grade fishing rod. Successfully fishing the deep-sea demon whale king. Reward, 190,000-year spirit bone, a 10% increase to all spirit ring and spirit bone lifespans, and a near-ultimate increase in water affinity for disciples. The system's voice filled Suran's mind. It really was a massive catch, an unparalleled one. Suran was stunned that he had actually hooked the deep-sea demon whale king. Then he understood why. The beast's cultivation had approached 1,000,000 years, and its remaining lifespan was limited. The blood-bright bait could lengthen a spirit beast's lifespan by a proportion, exactly what he needed to survive an inevitable divine tribulation later. And the rewards for the whale king were enormous. Even without landing it, simply holding it could boost spirit ring and spirit bone lifespans by thousands or tens of thousands of years. His earliest spirit rings might be raised toward 100,000 years, turning any spirit ability he used into something that could challenge the continent's elite. How could he not be moved? Below the surface, waves surged in concentric fury. The colossal creature rolled, and a massive whirlpool opened, dozens of meters across. The whole sea became abyssal and black. Surrounding waves shot up 100 meters, and lo, oppressive clouds gathered. It was a true disaster zone. The peach blossom skirted the whirlpool's edge, pushing its engines to the limit, but the sucking currents slowed them. The Mara sisters stared at the horrendous sight behind them, eyes wide. What is happening? How could an anomaly like this just appear? Even experienced as they were, the sisters had no explanation. Manny looked back, spotted the dust-trailing figure with the rod, and rubbed her eyes. Sister, look, are they fishing? Taoyuan teacher? Probably. Only Taoyuan teacher on our ship likes to fish, right? Taoyuan teacher is so handsome. Even in the face of peril, Taoyuan teacher's peerless appearance made the young girls flush. Manny's face went the shade of peach blossoms. Shui Binger, you're lying. No, really, he's not ordinary at all. He's the most handsome man I've ever seen. He's too perfect. If he's ordinary, then what are we even doing? Mara couldn't help but glance back. Once she saw him, she couldn't look away. Disbelief slackened her grip by 2 points. He's so good-looking. Not good, someone cried. Our speed has dropped. We need to keep at least 28 knots to have any chance of breaking the whirlpool's pull. Boom! The beast at the seabed churned again, as if angered. The sea within 10 li went crazy. A giant wave surged in from the distance and shoved the peach blossom back 1,000 meters. The cruise ship teetered on the edge of the whirlpool. Teacher told you to leave early. Why are you still back there? Someone muttered. Teacher will help you out. Suran watched anxiously. The peach blossom hadn't reached a safe distance. If the girls were too close, he couldn't risk unleashing his full strength. Beneath the chaos, peach blossoms began to flutter across the waves. A living peach blossom branch leapt and drove itself against the ship's stern, shoving the peach blossom thousands of meters outward until it finally cleared the danger zone and sailed into safety. Once the ship was out of immediate danger, Suran tightened his grip. The ocean convulsed, and a sea tornado roared into being. On the crest of the maelstrom, a dark, massive whale scale flashed. Both Suran and the Whale King exerted their power, churning monstrous waves across dozens of li. What is Taoyuan teacher fishing for? It's causing this much havoc, someone shouted. This is terrifying, far worse than the 10,000-year spirit beasts we've faced before. Taoyuan teacher must be crazy, right? Could this actually be a 100,000-year spirit beast? Has anyone ever fished a 100,000-year beast? Only our teacher could do something like this. Even the usually composed Shui Binger couldn't help the twitch at the corner of her mouth. Taoyuan teacher won't be in danger, will he? Probably not. Taoyuan teacher should know what he's doing, right? Manny stepped forward, practical despite the tremor in her voice. Spirit Master, where should we go now? The nearest route to Sea God Island is blocked. We'll have to take a detour. Shui Binger rubbed her temples, weighing their options. Maintain a safe distance. Find a nearby island to wait on for now, and keep an eye on Taoyuan teacher. We'll wait until he's finished fishing. I hope he succeeds, Mani whispered. Amen. I want to see a 100,000-year sea demon brought ashore. What an experience that would be. Chapter 223. Tang San and his father board the Taoyuan number to show goodwill. The ocean's moods are truly unpredictable. How could such huge waves appear so suddenly? Father, I'm afraid we won't be able to set off for Sea God Island today. On the island, 2 familiar figures stood by the shore. Tang San stared at the rolling waves, feeling the wind batter his face as if it could lift him off the ground, and spoke to Tang Hao beside him. Tang Hao nodded. We've already waited this long. A day or 2 more won't matter. Still, Little San, I have a bad feeling. This turmoil at sea might be caused by that enormous creature we ran into before. I feel uneasy too. Little San, look, the cruise ship over there looks familiar. Standing atop the cliff, Tang Hao pointed at a vessel cutting through the dangerous waters. Purple light flashed in Tang San's eyes as he activated his purple demon eye and extended his vision. He made out the Taoyuan number clearly, and the peach blossom emblem painted on its hull made his heart skip. Father, that's a peach blossom, like Taoyuan Academy's emblem. Could it be their ship? Taoyuan Academy? Hearing the name, Tang Hao's voice trembled with recognition. Isn't Taoyuan Academy in Soto City? That's inland, over 1,000 miles from the West Sea. What are they doing here? Could Su Ran be with them? Mention of Su Ran made Tang Hao visibly uneasy. Years ago, he'd faced Su Ran and been badly wounded, injuries that hadn't fully healed. On top of that, a few days earlier, he'd been deceived by two damned fishermen into the Demon Whale Sea area and come up against a terrifying 100,000-year deep-sea demon whale. In the water, Tang Hao had been powerless. He could only flee with Tang San and had been nearly drowned by the tsunami the whale produced. They eventually washed ashore on Purple Pearl Island, where he'd been convalescing and had only just begun to recover his qi. Looking at the current monstrous waves, he felt straight away that this disturbance was far worse than the old tsunami. What kind of spirit beast could be causing it? Father, I remember during the Soul Master competition, Su Ran took on several students from Tianshui Academy. Maybe he's taken them out to sea for cultivation, Tang San suggested. He fixed his gaze on the Taoyuan No as it drew nearer. His body trembled. He could not forget the humiliation and pain of that year. Shui Binger, Shui Yuer, Shui Wu, he wondered how far their cultivation had advanced. With his blue-silver emperor awakened, mastery of the clear sky 9 absolutes, the disorder-splitting wind hammer method, and even the great Sumeru hammer intent, could he still be outmatched? And they had a noble cruise ship for a sea voyage, while he and his father had to drift around in the open sea like dogs. The gap felt unbearable, but Tang San's eyes narrowed. Plum blossoms smell sweetest after bitter cold. The blade's edge is forged by grinding. All these hardships would only strengthen him. Father, shall we go take a look? Little San, are you sure? If they're truly from Taoyuan Academy and Su Ran is on board, seeking him out might be unwise. He's not the same Su Ran from 6 years ago. Tang Hao's tone was grave. 6 years ago, Su Ran had wounded him because he'd underestimated his opponent. Had Tang Hao unleashed higher techniques, his 7th and 9th spirit abilities, or even a ring explosion, Su Ran might have been killed or crippled. But in the more recent events, the Soul Master competition 3 years ago and the Slaughter City incident, Tang Hao had felt Su Ran's presence like a shadow, his power at peak. If they met in earnest now, Tang Hao would have no clear advantage. That was why he hesitated to confront him directly. Don't worry, Father. I'm not yet a Taoyuan student, but I'm acquainted with their teachers and students, especially teacher Su Ran. When Tang San named Su Ran, his voice held a mixture of resentment and determination. If I was able to leave Slaughter City, it means Su Ran isn't one to hold petty grudges. As long as we show basic courtesy, he won't kill us on the spot. That's part of Taoyuan Academy's etiquette and Confucian training. Jishang, go prepare food to entertain our distinguished guests. Tang San turned to Jishang, who had been standing outside the cliff. Jishang, a physician from Purple Pearl Island who knew the route to Sea God Island, had become Tang San's subordinate when they drifted into the island's care. Tang Hao's strength and the duo's bloody reputations had lifted Jishang's standing among the islanders. With that, Tang San's leg spirit bone flickered and he pushed off the rocks, actually launching himself across the water by flight. Tang Hao sighed and followed. I'll trust you this once, little San. I hope Taoyuan Academy is what you say. So many pretty girls. This ship isn't ours, is it? Some outsiders dare come here? Let's rob them. Come on. I miss women so much, I want to rough them up, especially beauties like those. As the black seawater lapped the shore, several pirates had spotted the Taoyuan No and crowded the beach. They drooled at the young women on deck. But when Tang San and Tang Hao appeared, every pirate froze. These two had built fearsome reputations on Purple Pearl Island, people killed in their name, dozens slain in a day or two. Even the island leader, Purple Pearl, dared not say much. Tang Hao and his son were effectively the island's overlords. It's really you, Shui Binger, Du Guyan. Tang San and Tang Hao climbed onto the Taoyuan Numer's deck. Shui Binger, Shui Yuer, Chi Roshui, Du Guyan, Meng Yuran, and the others were all gathered by the rail, watching the turbulent sea and worrying about their teacher. Sensing Tang San and Tang Hao's qi, Du Guyan and Meng Yuran turned first and narrowed their eyes. It's you, Yu Xiaogo's disciple, Tang San and Tang Hao. Why are you here? Aren't you from the Clear Sky sect? Why come to the sea? Du Guyan and Meng Yuran, aware of the old grudge between Tang Hao and their teacher, stiffened. Shui Binger and the others might not know those details, but they were instantly on edge. Senior sisters, there's been a misunderstanding. I'm no longer that person's student. In fact, I've long wanted to become Teacher Suran's disciple at Taoyuan Academy, but I haven't passed his test yet, so I'm not his student, Tang San explained calmly. It's fate that our paths cross here. My father and I are hosts of Purple Pearl Island. Since you're here and the sea is restless, why not disembark and rest on the island? We'll fulfill our duties as hosts. Senior sister? Du Yan and Meng Yiran exchanged odd looks. You haven't been accepted by our teacher, so you're not a Taoyuan student. Don't call us senior sisters, just use our names, Du Yan said bluntly. There's no need to go ashore. We still have to wait for teacher. Exactly. We're not in the mood to rest. Shuyuer glanced at Tang San and snorted. Teacher Suran isn't here? What is he doing? The sea suddenly turned wild. He won't be able to get close for a while. Humph. Don't underestimate our teacher, Shui Binger said. This sea disaster? Teacher is out fishing for a 100,000-year spirit beast. Shh, your loose lips sink ships. Don't say so much. At that, Tang San and Tang Hao exchanged looks of utter shock and disbelief. Fishing for a 100,000-year spirit beast? Fishing! Chapter 224. The Peach Blossom Immortal walks the sea, gloomy clouds and broken threads, fishing for a 100,000-year spirit beast. It was something no one dared even imagine. Even the powerhouses of Sea God Island wouldn't attempt such a thing. A 100,000-year spirit beast was colossal, incomparably strong, and surprisingly agile in the ocean. Hunting it on land was already hard enough. Catching one by fishing? Impossible. What kind of rod, line, and hook could withstand the pull of a creature like that? What bait could tempt a creature with that level of intelligence, even one capable of human speech, to bite a tiny hook? Tang San and Tang Hao, like any sea spirit masters, were stunned by the idea. And yet the claim had come from a Taoyuan Academy student. Tang Hao inhaled sharply, his right arm throbbing faintly as he stared toward the turbulent black sea, a rising fear in his chest. How powerful was Su Ran now to dare such a thing? Even facing a 100,000-year deep-sea demon whale, he would only be able to flee for his life. Could he really catch one? So Teacher Su's purpose in taking you out to sea is to fish for a 100,000-year spirit beast? Tang San blurted, incredulous. He knew, from his own 100,000-year spirit bone, just how much power such a creature could confer. No wonder his father had insisted on keeping Xiao Wu back then. Another 100,000-year spirit ring and bone might have pushed him past 61. Shuyuer rolled her eyes at Tang San's prattle. Not your business. Mind your own first, loser. Tang San reddened but held his tongue. Shui Binger, composed, added, Teacher has his reasons for taking us out here. It's not for us to guess. Tang San, my junior sisters and senior sisters don't seem to welcome you. Please disembark. She made a polite but firm gesture toward the railing. Tang San forced a smile and tried to smooth things over. I misjudged people before. Studying at Shrek, I had grievances with Taoyuan, but years have passed. Taoyuan Academy isn't so petty. I'm willing to let bygones be bygones. What do you say? It's true, a 100,000-year spirit beast is terrifying. If Teacher Su fails and gets into trouble, my father and I could help. Really? Is that so? I think if Teacher were in danger, you two would be the first to kick him while he's down, wouldn't you? Shuyuer shot Tang San and Tang Hao a suspicious look. She'd heard only little of them, and after senior sister Xiao Wu's mother was resurrected, the sisters had privately discussed Tang San and held a poor opinion of him. Du Yan and Meng Yiran exchanged nods. Junior sister Yuer's instincts, while usually unreliable, were oddly sharp now. Tang Hao folded his arms and protested loudly. Me, Clear Sky Douluo, would never stoop to such a thing. His claim drew only scoffs. Shui Binger inclined her head slightly to both Tang Hao and Tang San. Her words were neither warm nor cold, but practical. Fishing for a 100,000-year spirit beast was no child's play. If Su Ran met danger, rescuing him at their current realm would be difficult. Having a titled Douluo on hand would help. And if Teacher did come to harm and they quarreled, Tang Hao and his father might turn hostile, another danger the sisters couldn't handle alone. That was Shui Binger's reasoning. Understood. I'll stay and wait for Teacher Su's return, Tang San said. Duguyan and Mengyuan fell silent, eyes fixed on the strange center of the tempest out at sea. Even after dozens upon hundreds of miles, the giant swells still towered several meters, sometimes over 10 meters, by the time they reached Purple Pearl Island. The Taoyuan No. 1 rocked and swayed with the ocean. Duguyan, Mengyuan, and the other students planted their feet and held fast. Tang San, who had spent years doing strength training hammering under a waterfall, still found himself bracing at the railing. He couldn't help thinking, not only have I improved these past years, but the students of Taoyuan Academy have strengthened as well. On the island's rocky shore, Purple Pearl, leader of a local pirate band, watched the approaching vessel warily. A striking woman with a balanced figure, about 27 or 28, purple hair cropped fashionably short, and large amethyst eyes, she peered out at the Taoyuan ship and frowned. "Those two fiends boarded that ship?" one of her captains asked. "With my years at sea, a vessel of that class must belong to nobles or high officials," Purple Pearl replied. "If we could plunder it, we'd have enough spoils to feed our crew and the nearby fishermen for a long time." "But didn't Hyder's crew find a luxurious white giant ship? This one looks similar. Could it be?" "Did Hyder go after that ship?" another captain snapped. "Then why isn't he here? If they'd come for revenge, they would have rushed ashore and attacked, but they're anchored and haven't disembarked. Either they're hiding from some sea calamity or waiting for someone." Purple Pearl's eyes narrowed. "Either way, Hyder's probably dead. Send 2 of our men to talk to them. If a titled Douluo pays them any mind, this ship's origin isn't simple. We'll wait and see." "Yes, Captain," the captains answered. Purple Pearl had built her crew by her own strength. Now, as the sea's fury began to calm, an astonishing sight unfolded. The towering waves subsided, and the ocean smoothed. From the depths, a figure in a blue robe glided up, accompanied by a delicate 4-legged sea beast. He walked on the surface as if it were solid ground. Each step made the great waves bow and flatten, and soft ripples of peach blossom-colored foam spread outward. He was impossibly handsome, like a child of the sea itself, delicate features, an artist's face, and an aura of gentle melancholy. The currents obeyed him, flowing at his will. The moment he appeared, every eye turned. Tang San, Tang Hao, and Purple Pearl alike could not look away. The students cried out in relief and joy, but his face was shadowed with sorrow. "Teacher!" the students shouted in unison. "Teacher safe! Teacher!" Shui Yuer waved anxiously. "Teacher, where's the 100,000-year spirit beast? Is that it beside you?" The young man moved in an instant, closing the distance in a heartbeat. He sighed, disappointment heavy in his voice. "It isn't. My fishing line broke, alas." Chapter 225, Marine Divine Beast Bloodline, Water-Repelling Golden-Eyed Beast. Not only did the fishing line snap, the rod itself cracked. Suran set the ruined rod down in front of his disciples, Shui Binger and the others. The line had been pulled taut until it snapped into a tangled spring. The middle of the rod itself had broken cleanly. He had spent hours wrestling with the deep-sea demon whale king out in the demon whale sea area, putting everything he had into either being dragged into the depths or reeling the beast ashore. At the decisive moment, the line broke and the rod shattered. Teacher Su was genuinely annoyed. "It's okay, Teacher Su. 100,000-year spirit beast is still 100,000-year spirit beast. It's not surprising we couldn't catch it. At least you'll be the first person ever to try to fish up 100,000-year spirit beast," Mengyuan said, trying to console him. "Exactly. If it were anyone else, they probably wouldn't even dare try to hunt a 100,000-year sea spirit beast," Duguyan added. "That's true. After all, this demon whale king isn't an ordinary 100,000-year spirit beast. It makes sense that it wouldn't be easy to catch. But I won't give up so easily," Suran said, forcing a smile. "Girls, if you want to accomplish something, you have to persevere. Persistence brings victory." He didn't mention that he hadn't been fishing for a mere 100,000-year spirit beast, but for something far rarer, a potential million-year prize. Instead, he produced a new golden fishing rod from behind him. It radiated a wholly extraordinary aura. Suran's eyes hardened with resolve. "Teacher Su, are you going to try again?" Schweibinger asked, a little speechless at his relentless enthusiasm. Of course I am. The last rod broke, but I've got a new one. This one shouldn't break, Suran said, fondly inspecting the golden rod. It was the system's reward for 2 hours of playing with the whale, a divine-grade fishing rod. Although the demon whale king had escaped, the system's rewards had been generous. Besides the rod, he'd received a full spirit ring, spirit bone enhancement rewards worth over 30,000 years, several sets of Grandmaster-level water element cultivation techniques, water element spirit bones, physique essences, and more. The system update flashed through his mind. Spirit, Divine Show Peach Branch Spirit Power, level 97. Super Douluo Spirit Bones, 300,000-year external spirit bone, Cloud Dream Immortal Wings, 250,000-year right arm bone, heavenly craftsmanship, etc. Domains, Divine Show Peach Heaven, Glory of the Teacher, Forbidden Magic Domain, Slaughter God Domain. First Spirit Ability. J.G. Ru Meng, Plucking Branches as Dreams, increased to 50,000 years. Second Ability, a Dream Peach Sword Order, increased to 60,000 years. Third, Chaotic Red Flying Snow, increased to 70,000 years. Fourth, Scarlet Moon Peach Bloom, increased to 80,000 years. Fifth, Burning Flower, 1000 Peach Slash, increased to 120,000 years. Sixth, 9 Luminaries Peach Blossom Sword, Awakening Ability, Attracting Heavenly Stars, increased to 190,000 years. Seventh, Red Dust True Body, 100,000-year Companion Ring Domain, White Jade Capital in Heaven, increased to 270,000 years. Eighth, Falling Moon, Falling Sun, increased to 290,000 years. Ninth, Ultimate Freedom, Peach Immortal's Guide, Myriad Flowers Arrive, 450,000-year limit. Thanks to the increase of over 30,000 years and the feedback from guiding his disciples, Suran's spirit power had made a small breakthrough to an astonishing level 97 Super Douluo. In the current Douluo Continent and the surrounding seas, such power was almost unparalleled, near demigod level. The system still hinted at an ultimate reward for the deep-sea demon whale king, a 900,000-year spirit bone, and a major boost to water element disciple affinity. That prize hadn't appeared yet, and it tempted him. Absorbing a 900,000-year spirit bone could very well push him to level 98 peak Douluo. He wanted to be strong enough to teach his disciples properly, otherwise his words would ring hollow. "Are you going to continue fishing now?" Duguyan asked. "If you're going to keep trying for that 100,000-year spirit beast, we can wait here for news." "No," Suran sighed. The demon whale king showed a much higher intelligence than ordinary spirit beasts during that bite. After what happened, it's unlikely to bite another hook easily. I'll take you girls to train first, then we'll look for another chance to lure it on the way back. He explained that while reeling and being dragged, the huge whale had leapt from the sea, sending monstrous waves crashing. Its eyes, bigger than human heads, had fixed on him in a glare that seemed to say, "Damn humans! Don't think you can do whatever you please just because you're handsome and treat me like nothing. I'm a spirit beast on the edge of the 1,000,000-year mark. If it were ancient times, I might have already ascended to a true divine beast. You actually tried to fish me up? Insult! What do you take me, the deep-sea demon whale king, for? Trash fish? If you caught me like that, how could I keep my dignity?" "Oh-woo!" A whale-like cry swept across the water, and the line snapped. "Why bother trying to lure a demon whale? Why not lure me instead? If the whale won't bite, I'd be more than happy to bite Teacher Su's hook." Slurp. Shuyuer's face flushed as she mumbled this, then squatted in front of Teacher Su and took a dramatic sniff of the air beneath him. She reached out casually to touch the four-legged sea spirit beast curled at Suran's feet, a strange little creature that looked like a qilin with a dragon's maw, fish scales, and deer antlers, and then looked up curiously. "Teacher Su, what is this little guy? I don't remember seeing this species in the West Sea records. I thought it might be the 100,000-year spirit beast you were fishing for." Shui Binger, Du Gu Yan, and Meng Yiran all showed a hint of confusion. The little beast pressed up against Suran, looking dependent and affectionate. Suran smiled faintly. "This is called the water-repelling golden-eyed beast. When it matures, it can be used as a mount to ascend to the heavens and dive into the sea, reach anywhere. It carries both Dragon Clan bloodline and a Divine Beast bloodline. Consider it an unexpected gain from failing to catch the Demon Whale King. Don't bully it, girls. It has poor scent and lacks a sense of security. Dragon Clan and Divine Beast? That's rarer than 100,000-year spirit beast, they exclaimed, surprised to find such a timid, cute creature harboring a Divine Beast lineage. After a few years, Dean Su's strength has improved a lot, able to fish out a 100,000-year sea spirit beast by himself. That's impressive. And gaining a mount with a Divine Beast bloodline, congratulations, Tang Hao and Tang San called out, cupping their hands politely as they approached. Su Ran's expression cooled as he recognized the pair and the intent behind their greeting. You two, what are you doing here? Going to Sea God Island? Why are you on our Taoyuan vessel? Looking for trouble? Looking for trouble? No, Dean Su, you're mistaken. Taoyuan Academy and we have always maintained friendly relations. We don't look for trouble. Also, are you two going to Sea God Island too? Tang San blurted. Chapter 226, A Kiss and a Hug as a Bet Reward. A tree without bark will surely die. A person without shame is unstoppable. Even Su Hao has the nerve to call himself benevolent. How ridiculous. Meng Yuan sneered at Tang Hao and Tang San. The mention of Su Hao made Tang Hao visibly uneasy. He shifted awkwardly. Little miss, don't hold a grudge. That was an accident back then. Humph. Meng Yuan crossed her arms and sniffed, clearly unimpressed. Even Su Ran's tone turned cold. Whether it was an accident or not, the Taoyuan vessel does not welcome you. Disembark. Now hold on, Dean Su. We came in good faith. There's no need to be so ruthless. Our little San speaks highly of you. Sure, we had our clashes with Taoyuan Academy before, but they were minor quarrels, not lifelong enmity. Tang Hao rubbed his right shoulder, the same shoulder that had been injured before, and tried to smooth things over. Minor quarrels? Meng Yuan's face twisted. You attacked Teacher Su and nearly imprisoned and killed our senior sister Xiao Wu. You call that minor? How shameless. At that, Shui Binger, Yu Hairo, Chu Ruoshui and the others snapped to attention. Their expressions hardened, and they stared daggers at Tang Hao and Tang San. We thought you'd merely had some disagreements with the academy. We didn't know you nearly killed senior sister Xiao Wu. We won't cozy up to people who bully her. Leave the Taoyuan vessel at once. Don't make accusations you can't prove. Killing? We never intended to kill Xiao Wu. At the time, I was planning for Xiao Wu to be my daughter-in-law. Why would I kill her? Tang Hao protested. Shh. I'll believe that when pigs fly, Shui Yuer spat. If not for the Bibi Dong incident, which had revealed that senior sister Xiao Wu was actually a 100,000-year-old spirit beast in human form, they might have accepted Tang Hao's denials. If Zhuqing hadn't used the ghost shuttle of the other shore to injure Tang San back then, avenging Xiao Wu's leg injury, I'd have made sure you never showed your face here. If Clear Sky Douluo wishes to test the power of my peach blossom branch, be my guest. Su Ran produced a peach blossom branch that shimmered with a faint peach gold light, bowing with a single courteous gesture toward Tang Hao. The qi emanating from him was peerless and unfathomable. Tang Hao swallowed hard, then turned to Tang San. He began to lead his son away. Since Dean Su does not welcome us, then so be it. Tang San halted, looking back. Years had passed since he'd first been turned away, and despite the rejections, he still desperately wanted to enter Taoyuan Academy, to see its teaching, to learn its legendary hidden weapons. He had even secretly studied the Tang sect's mysterious heaven treasure record. Teacher Su, we'll be heading for Sea God Island. I still hope you will give me a chance to be your disciple. I promise I will study hard and be an exemplary student. Little San, let's go. Tang Hao watched his son with a worried expression. He'd heard only opportunity and missed the warning in Su Ran's voice. If Tang San failed and insisted on claiming discipleship later, he could suffer a fate like Yu Xiaogang. He didn't want his only son crippled or worse. If we don't get this chance, we won't keep pressing. Su Ran's voice, clear and youthful, called out as Tang San landed. Tang San, since you wish so desperately to enter Taoyuan, I will give you a chance. We are bound for Sea God Island. If you can surpass my disciples in the Sea God's legacy trial, I will accept you as my disciple. If you fail, you must never bring this up again. And if you break that promise, think about your teacher's fate. Tang San's whole body trembled. He turned, cupped his hands respectfully, and said, "Thank you, Teacher Su. This disciple will do his utmost. I will not disappoint you." Tears pricked his eyes. He had waited so long for this one sliver of opportunity. He wanted nothing more than to study at Taoyuan and see those legendary hidden weapons for himself. "Tang San, are you ready?" Tang Hao asked, still anxious. "I will surpass them, Father," Tang San said, resolute. "But what is the Sea God's legacy trial?" Tang San asked. He still hadn't a clear idea what that trial entailed. Tang Hao frowned and shook his head. "All I know is what my grandfather, your great-grandfather, once mentioned. It's a test used to decide successors among certain lineages. How it's judged exactly, I don't know." "Well, grandfather went to Sea God Island too, so we'll learn when we get there," Tang San said, hope lighting his face. Nearby, the Taoyuan disciples were whispering among themselves. "Teacher, you can't really welcome Tang San if Xiao Wu's experience is true," Shu Yuer muttered, still holding the antler of the water-repelling golden-eyed beast. "If he gets into the academy with his aptitude, he'll outshine us all." "Then we must not give him that chance," someone else declared. "Doubtless, but Teacher Su is the one who offered this chance. Isn't it unfair if we just let him have it?" Shu Yuer said, then brightened with a mischievous idea. "If our scores beat Tang San's in the trial, teacher, you must give us a reward. Something nice, like, kiss me, the kind that goes moi." As soon as she said it, Du Guyan, Meng Yuran, and others lit up. Even Shui Binger's usually cold face flushed a little. "You're right. If students perform well, the teacher should reward them," she said. "Yes." Shui Wu, Chu Ruoshui, Yu Hairo, and the other girls all nodded eagerly, looking at Su Ran with expectant eyes. A kiss and a hug would bring teacher and students closer. There's nothing wrong with that. Su Ran was momentarily speechless at their enthusiasm. A kiss and a hug as a reward hardly had any real value. These girls could have asked for immortal flowers, spirit bones, or a personal hunt for their future spirit rings. Yet all of them longed for a simple teacher's kiss. What a headache. "All right," Su Ran sighed, then smiled faintly and nodded. Shu Yuer's face broke into a brilliant grin and she practically leaped on deck. "Yay! Teacher agreed! Teacher's kiss!" "Wonderful!" the girls cheered. Their spirits soared. Conquering the teacher began with a kiss and a hug. They would not be outdone by Tang San. Even Shui Binger and Du Guyan looked fired up. Su Ran watched them, bemused. Who knew that a teacher's hug could motivate students so much? Perhaps educating was really that simple. Just then, a woman's voice rang from outside the Taoyuan vessel. "I am Purple Pearl, seeking an audience with Sir." Chapter 227, Named Disciple Purple Pearl, the woman who aims to be the Pirate King. "Teacher Su, are you really going to Sea God Island?" On the shore of Purple Pearl Island, Jixiang watched Tang San and Tang Hao's backs with a worried look. Ever since the Taoyuan vessel docked and its leader had made friends with the powerful people aboard, Tang Hao, the once overbearing, arrogant figure, had changed. He'd gone from a tiger to a mouse, suddenly cautious and guarded. Even his voice had lost the rasp it had 2 days ago. "Yes, this is a rare chance in my life. Whether a fish leaps over the dragon gate or a dragon is stranded on a beach, Sea God Island will reveal the truth." "Jixiang, I can see your heart is kind, and you want to heal and save people. You are my first disciple. These are some cultivation techniques I have distilled. Study them seriously, and even a doctor without spirit power can gain combat ability." Tang San thought of Ning Rongrong and how Teacher Su had said the same thing to her. Even as a support, you could be strong in battle. He handed 2 small booklets to Jixiang. The covers had been handwritten. Mysterious Heaven Skill, Introductory Chapter. Mysterious Heaven Treasure Record, Basic Medical and Poison Chapter. Taoyuan Academy, is that where you teach, Teacher Su? It sounds incredible. Clutching the booklets, Jixiang was deeply moved. Someday I'll be a Taoyuan teacher, able to teach at Taoyuan Academy," Jixiang added, embarrassed. Tang San almost laughed. He was still striving just to enter Taoyuan Academy himself, but he had no doubt he'd make it. He would go all out in the Sea God's trial and surpass Shui Binger and Du Guyan. He had lost the Soul Master competition before while fighting multiple opponents. In a one-on-one, who would win was far from decided. Turning, Tang San began to leave Purple Pearl Island with Tang Hao, heading for Sea God Island. They had planned to force Purple Pearl into guiding them, but she'd cleverly befriended Su Ran and made that impossible. Tang Hao glanced toward Su Ran. Even without a direct confrontation, he could feel Su Ran's strength, at least level 95, otherwise he wouldn't have been able to attempt something as audacious as fishing for a 100,000-year sea spirit beast. Jishang waved after them. Teacher Su, I'll study these skills hard. The waters around Sea God Island are patrolled by devil spirit great white sharks. Be careful, Teacher Su. Teacher Su, let's go too. I can't wait to take the trial on Sea God Island. After talking with Purple Pearl, the Taoyuan teacher and his students rested briefly. Shui Yuer, full of energy, began organizing their departure. With Teacher Su's promised rewards, high-grade spirit items, and hope, everyone was enthusiastic. Purple Pearl's delicate Western-featured face twitched at their confidence. In her mind, she thought, this Teacher Su must be extraordinary. These students talk like Sea God Island is nothing. Sea God Island is the holy ground for all sea spirit masters. Anyone who says they'll pass must be either very brave or very foolish. Su Ran glanced up. The dark clouds were thinning, and a pale sun broke through, scattering light over the Taoyuan vessel and catching his sleeves, highlighting his handsome, imposing face. He nodded. Let's go. Sea God Island isn't far. We should arrive within 2 days. Master, the Taoyuan vessel is much faster than my Purple Pearl vessel. It should take only a day, Purple Pearl replied. However, Su Ran added, the waters around Sea God Island are guarded by devil spirit great white sharks. Without the island's approval, any approaching ship will likely be attacked, driven away, or sunk. Purple Pearl warned him out of habit. Su Ran glanced at her. Thanks for the warning, but you don't need to call me Master, Leader Purple Pearl. Purple Pearl stared at Su Ran's unparalleled good looks and felt dizzy, her thoughts scattering. She blurted out, if Teacher Su hadn't let me board the ship, Tang Hao would have forced us to serve him again. Rather than be their slaves, Purple Pearl would be honored to be Teacher Su's servant. I'm sorry, Su Ran said quickly. The word servant goes against our academy's principles of dignity and equality. I don't take slaves. Eh? Purple Pearl was stunned. In a world where the strong preyed on the weak, servants and slaves were common. She had never heard anyone speak about servants' rights before. Does Teacher Su look down on me because I'm a pirate? Pirates aren't all unforgivable, Su Ran replied, but many pirates indiscriminately kill and plunder. Purple Pearl sighed. To be honest, when I started the Purple Pearl pirate gang, it was to provide a place for people at sea who couldn't make a living. But my strength is limited. I'm only in my 60s in the Spirit Emperor realm. Against the calamities of the sea and powerful spirit masters, I'm helpless. I can't reach the pirate king you speak of. Spirit Emperor? Didn't I hear someone say the strongest in your gang is a spirit saint? Meng Yuran asked. Purple Pearl smiled awkwardly. That's just because I once fought a spirit saint. The pirates exaggerate to boost our reputation. Su Ran's peach-colored eyes considered her. He saw something in her worth noting. At 27, at 68 levels of spirit power, you're talented. Advancing to Spirit Saint is inevitable. As he looked at her, a mental note formed. Purple Pearl, 27, level 68, Spirit Sea Snake-type spirit, hot-tempered, courageous, cold on the outside but warm inside. Single-handedly built the Purple Pearl pirate gang, sheltering thousands. Natural aptitude, S. It just so happens my disciples are going to Sea God Island for training, so I'll stay on Purple Pearl Island to research secondary fishing. During that time, I can teach you things. If you're willing to pursue the Pirate King ideal I described, I can accept you as a named disciple. Will you? Accept me as a disciple? Purple Pearl's eyes widened. Teacher Su, you won't come with us to Sea God Island? Shui Binger and Duguyan both asked in surprise. Su Ran nodded and produced several conch shell communicators from his spirit tool, passing them to the 9 disciples. That's right. Though I won't go to the island with you, I'll be paying attention. These portable conches transmit sound within 200 lei. Once you complete the god's trial, I'll bring you all back to the academy. When Su Ran had fished for the deep-sea demon whale king, he'd felt as if invisible eyes watched him from the dark. The sea god's sensory reach over the ocean was greater than that of the angel god or asura. It was likely the sea god had noticed him. If he set foot on the island, with his presence, The disciples might not even be allowed to take the trial. The attention would fall on him. Of course, he added, if you prefer otherwise, forget I said anything. Seeing Purple Pearl hesitate and thinking of how even Tang Hao feared this Taoyuan teacher, how Su Ran could fish for 100,000-year sea spirit beast, Purple Pearl bit her lip and decided. Disciple Purple Pearl is willing. I will take becoming the Pirate King as my mission. Although you are only a named disciple and not yet a full member of the Academy, you must still follow the school's rules and principles. From now on, you must not kill the innocent indiscriminately or commit evil deeds. Punish the wicked and promote the good. Once you wear this school emblem, it is both my recognition of you and the means by which you will be held accountable. Do you understand? A peach blossom badge floated into Purple Pearl's hand as Teacher Su spoke earnestly. She pinned the badge over her heaving chest, kowtowed to him, and called out, "This disciple obeys." Good, your spirit is a sea snake, and its venom is strong. It bears some resemblance to Yanner's spirit. Only her snake is a land venomous serpent, while yours is of the sea. Yanner studies the calamity poison art. I will teach you the body refining method for absorbing and guiding sea poisons. Ding! A system notification flashed. Successfully accepted the Sea Beauty Purple Pearl as a named disciple. Rewards to the host. All Spirit Ring and Spirit Bone age limits increased by 5%. Spirit Power increased. Sea Spirit Beast Cultivation Essence Milk 3. The rewards were small for Su Ran, but welcome. Purple Pearl's talent, however, was impressive. She had already established herself by 27 and had reached the 68th level of Spirit Emperor, an achievement that would place her among the top in Taoyuan Academy. With Teacher Su's guidance, she could easily rise to title Douluo someday. Land Venomous Snake? Purple Pearl glanced at Du Guyan. No wonder she had felt a resonance with her at first sight. What, you don't believe me? Su Ran suggested calmly. Manny, Mara, get ready and set sail. Take the girls to the vicinity of Sea God Island. We'll return afterward. Mani, who had been peering at Su Ran from the cabin window and visibly flustered, hurried back to the co-pilot's seat, stammering, Sister, no, Teacher Su told us to depart. The Taoyuan vessel rumbled to life and cut through the waves towards Sea God Island. Su Ran looked at Purple Pearl and said, If you still doubt it, demonstrate your sea snake venom. Yanzi, come here, he called to Du Guyan. Du Guyan came forward and scrutinized Purple Pearl. As a newly acknowledged disciple, Purple Pearl hesitated. How could she dare poison a senior sister? Teacher, it's not that I don't believe it, but if I release the sea viper cold poison, even I can't cure its effects quickly. A spirit master above the Spirit King level might need 2 or 3 days in the scorching sun to dispel it. If senior sister can't endure it, it could delay her trip to Sea God Island for the assessment. Du Guyan extended her fair wrist, still marked by 2 parallel scabs, and replied lightly, Come, the stronger the poison, the better. If you can poison me, it will prove Teacher made an excellent choice taking you as a disciple. And with Teacher here, I won't be in danger. She had honed her body with the calamity poison art for years, absorbing the most virulent venoms from the 9-section jade. If she flinched at a 60-some level Spirit Emperor's sea snake cold poison, then either her refining was inadequate or Teacher's instruction had failed. Then I'll try. If senior sister feels any discomfort, tell me and I'll stop immediately. With Su Ran's permission, Purple Pearl manifested her sea viper spirit in a brilliant display, a living Purple Pearl. 6 spirit rings flashed along its form, yellow, yellow, purple, black, black. The viper's fangs sank into Du Guyan's wrist. A cold line crept across Du Guyan's skin, but her expression did not change. At once the azure phosphorus serpent empress spirit emerged beside her, a presence so powerful that Purple Pearl's sea viper bowed in deference. Du Guyan's spirit rings were formidable. The 4th was a 10,000-year ring. It became clear that this senior sister had been using spirit rings to store and refine poisons. Senior sister Yan, are you all right? Purple Pearl asked, alarmed. Du Guyan closed her eyes and said, Don't stop, keep going. It feels so good. Inject all of it into my body. Ah! Purple Pearl froze. Her sea viper's cold poison, which terrified countless sea spirit masters, had no harmful effect on Du Guyan. Instead, it seemed to invigorate her. Purple Pearl stared at Teacher Su in disbelief. She had come aboard partly because of the awe-inspiring power and commanding presence Su Ran displayed when he strode across the waves. Secretly, she had thought herself willing to follow him, whatever the cost. But now, seeing Duguyan's mastery of poison and body refinement, she felt the path of her cultivation might change forever. Perhaps she had a real shot at greatness, maybe even a chance to become a pirate king of the seas. One day later, as they drew close to Sea God Island, the sea calmed under a clear blue sky. Purple Pearl's lips were pale. She had not expected her vitality to be drained while Duguyan absorbed the cold poison, but the senior sister emerged only more vigorous. "Teacher, is that Sea God Island?" Shuyer cried. "We're almost there." Shui Binger and Meng Yiran answered, pointing at the enormous island rising from the ocean, wrapped in a faint sea-blue radiance. Su Ran stood on deck and looked at the island's patrol area. "Girls, from this moment your trials begin. Before you land on Sea God Island, remember, once the Sea God's trials start, there is no turning back, only moving forward. You must cooperate and combine your strengths. You are both teammates and competitors. You will receive the Sea God's blessings and rewards, but you may also face life-threatening dangers. Are you ready?" "Teacher, we are ready," came the resolute chorus from Shui Binger, Shuiyuer, Dugu Yan, and the others. "Good. Ahead of you is the patrol area of Sea God Island's guardian beast, the devil spirit great white shark. You must land under your own power. Teacher wishes you luck." He paused, then added, "If you truly face unbearable danger, you may call for help with the sound-transmitting conch, but each of you has only one chance. Using it means your divine trial has failed. Don't be afraid. Teacher will always be there." Those last words steadied them. Shui Yuer was the first to move. She transformed into a dolphin and leapt toward Sea God Island, weaving nimbly between snapping jaws. "Teacher, Yuer will do well," she shouted. Shui Binger touched the surface of the water, and an ice pathway formed beneath her feet, allowing her to stride toward the shore. Meng Yiran summoned several spirit beasts to use as stepping stones and used them to traverse the waves with graceful leaping. Dugu Yan, Shui Wu, Gu Qingbo, Shen Liuyu, Chu Ruoshui, Yu Hairo, and the other disciples each displayed their divine abilities and landed safely on the island. On Sea God Island itself, without the shelter of the vast sea cosmic shroud, Tang San, who had struggled to escape the maws of the devil spirit great white sharks and make landfall, watched in astonishment as the Taoyuan students arrived from afar and touched down with effortless grace. Chapter 229, All Top-Tier Red Trials. Tang San is stunned. "Hello? Hello, teacher. Are you there? We've landed on Sea God Island. I didn't expect that Tang San would come here too. How irritating." "Teacher, the island's guardian spirit masters brought us to a place called the Seahorse Saint Pillar. That should be one of the 7 saint pillars you mentioned, right? This seahorse Douluo actually suspects us of being from Spirit Hall. How hateful. Even though Sister Shuer is Spirit Hall's holy maiden, that damned offering hall once tried to kill our junior sister in the womb. They're an enemy to us. Ah, I really can't stand that brat. He's got that look like he can't wait for us to be expelled." On Sea God Island, Duguyan, Meng Yiran, and Shui Binger had arrived before the Seahorse Saint Pillar. Restless, Shui Yuer stood to the side of the group, keeping up a continuous connection with Teacher Su Ran through her pig-shaped conch. Whether Teacher Su Ran heard her or not, there was no reply. Still, the contact seemed to calm them a little. Because of Spirit Hall's violent aggression against Sea God Island years ago, the island's people had little trust in continent spirit masters. Seahorse Douluo, the guardian, wore a cold expression and did not want to initiate the island trial for this group. When Tang San, desperate to join Taoyuan Academy and eager to surpass Shui Binger and the others, exposed his Clear Sky sect roots and displayed his spirit, the Clear Sky Hammer, explaining how the sect had been suppressed and expelled by Spirit Hall, Seahorse Douluo's attitude softened. He allowed Tang San to stay and take the Sea God Island trial. Shui Binger and the others, unwilling to slander Spirit Hall or air old wounds, refused to denounce it, which aroused the Guardian's suspicion. Just as Shu Binger and Dugu Yan were embroiled in argument and about to be turned away, a faint light flickered within the Seahorse Saint Pillar. Seahorse Douluo sensed the trace of the sea god's will and, startled, quickly restrained the 9 students from Taoyuan Academy. Wait, follow me. If you manage to reach Sea God Island, you may have a connection with it, he said. Seahorse Douluo examined the newcomers closely. Crossing the sea within a sea and arriving at the Saint Pillar, each of them had appeared relaxed and calm, displaying qualities that made the Guardian wonder if this was the sea god's guidance. He led them forward and looked at Tang San. You are the only male among the trial participants. Step forward first. I will apply for the trial for all of you by the will of the sea god. Tang San nodded, a little regret threading his excitement. If Shui Binger and the others were driven off, only he would take the Sea God Island trial. No matter the outcome, it would count as surpassing them, as Teacher Su had said. But truly surpassing them in the trial, that would be even sweeter. His competitive fire kindled. If he could win admission to Taoyuan Academy and secretly learn, to become a disciple properly, he would give everything to surpass them. Under Seahorse Douluo's solemn guidance, the Seahorse Saint Pillar glowed a brilliant blue. A beam of blue light descended from the sky, striking Tang San. The blue shifted to white, then yellow. Purple and black followed, and finally, the light deepened into a dense black beam. Top-tier trial? No, black level 6. Is it my imagination, or did the sea god's will regress? Seahorse Douluo exclaimed. Sea God Island had 9 trial levels. Passing the white level 1 and yellow level 1, trials marked ordinary island guardians. The purple level 2 produced mid-level managers. Those who passed the black levels 4 through 6 became guardians of the 7 Saint Pillars, titled Douluo. The black trial was special. Candidates could not retreat. They had to complete the trial within the time limit, or the black mark would explode, and they would die. The last person to survive a black level 6 trial and emerge was Sea Dragon Douluo, now a level 95 Super Douluo, a rare advanced trial seen once in a century. 6 beams of light converged into 6 black dots that merged into Tang San's glabella, forming a black hexagram. Rather than fear, Tang San felt exhilaration. If the sea god had recognized him with a black level 6, possibly the head of the 7 Saint Pillars, this was extraordinary. Dugu Yan, Shui Binger, Meng Yiran, where did their heights lie? Tang San smiled inwardly. If it explodes, it explodes. For teacher's reward, the risk is worth it, he thought. Meng Yiran stepped forward next. She had been at the academy for years and had never received a kiss from Teacher Su-ran. The idea that if she passed, Teacher Su-ran's handsome face might lean close to her flushed lips made her cheeks tingle with anticipation. A beam of blue light enveloped her. The light flickered, skipping white, yellow, and purple, deepening rapidly, black, but then instead of staying black, it surged into a brilliant red. A red beam shot from the Seahorse Saint Pillar, the most dazzling light on Sea God Island. Seahorse Douluo's hostility melted into surprise and respect. Thousands of eyes across the island turned skyward. The guardians of the other 6 Saint Pillars stood at once and shouted in a chorus of disbelief. Top Tier 7 trial! No, 8 trials? The red light signified a top-tier red trial, the highest level, 7 or 8, representing the future leader of Sea God Island, the successor to the High Priest. In time, the entire island would follow this spirit master. Even within the Sea God Temple, the central hall opened in response. A striking woman in a red and blue priestess robe, pale and melancholic, looked up toward the Saint Pillar with a hint of relief and serenity. If you had appeared a few decades earlier, how wonderful that would have been, she murmured. Before the island's spirit masters could fully process this, more red lights flared from the Saint Pillar, one after another. Gu Qingbo, Top Tier 7 trial. Qiro Shui, Top Tier 7 trial. Shen Liuyu, Top Tier 7 trial. Yu Hairo, Top Tier 7 trial. Shuiwu, Top Tier 8 trial. 6 red lights blazed in succession above the Seahorse Saint Pillar, turning Sea God Island's blue sky a fierce crimson. The spectacle was breathtaking. Seahorse Douluo himself was momentarily speechless. The guardians of the other Saint Pillars stared, dumbfounded. Did I see that wrong? That's one person's trial beam, right? How can 6 top-tier red trials appear at the same time? This is impossible. Can the High Priest have 6 successors at once? Inside the Sea God Temple, High Priest Pasesi was stunned, her expression unreadable. She glanced at the Sea God statue behind her. Sea God, is this your will? She whispered. Tang San's eyes nearly popped out of his head. His face went darker than a scowl. No, He had been told a black level 6 trial was a once-in-a-century thing. Yet here were not only black trials but red trials, higher than black, appearing for Meng Yuran and several others. How could this be fair? I protest. Tang San ground his teeth. Did the Saint Pillar make a mistake? How could even Chu Ruoshui and Gu Qingbo get red trials? 3 years ago, Chu Ruoshui and Gu Qingbo hadn't even reached level 40 spirit power. Tang San had barely considered them. His true rivals had been Du Guyan and Shui Binger. This had to be an error of the Seahorse Saint Pillar. Chapter 230. The Sea God's 9 Trials Withdrawn. Does the Sea God have another chosen heir? The Seahorse Saint Pillar is directly linked to the will of the Sea God. It shouldn't be mistaken. But 6 candidates for red level trials appearing at once, that's never happened in the history of Sea God Island. Seahorse Douluo's face was a mask of bewilderment. He could not make sense of the situation. Tang San took a slow breath, stepped forward, and glanced at Chu Ruoshui and Gu Qingbo. It must be a mistake. Why are their trial levels higher than mine? There's no way their talent surpasses mine. Hey, Tang San, what are you talking about? Shu Yuer's conch voice sounded to her teacher, but she immediately defended her classmates. How can you say senior sisters Ruoshui and Qingbo are inferior to you? You only have a black level 6 trial. It's natural for our classmates to be capable of top-tier red trials. Chu Ruoshui and Shen Liuyu, too, now had 5 spirit rings glinting under their feet. They looked at Tang San with steady eyes. Our talent may have been weaker before, but that doesn't mean we're worse than you now. If you doubt it, come, fight me and see. Tang San tightened his grip on the clear sky hammer. He was unconvinced and surprised. They were all spirit kings with 5 rings like him, yet the aura they carried now was completely different from 3 years ago. Enough, Tang San said. I think the Sea God's intent is to recognize that several of you have the potential to become high priests of Sea God Island, but there's only one high priest seat. Those with lesser talent would ordinarily take black-level trials. However, perhaps the Sea Gods will envy the fortune of these young people and does not want them to pay the deadly price of black trials. So it simultaneously awards top-tier red trials. The best performer among you will inherit the high priest position, while the others who pass the red trials will become the successors to the 7 Saint Pillars. A shadow moved in the distance, and the voice that spoke now came from atop the Seahorse Saint Pillar. Space twisted slightly as a figure in red robes gradually drew near. At the very top, a woman appeared, sea blue hair trailing down her back, a red robe flowing about her, holding the high priest's staff. Her bearing was peerless. Even the notorious Bibi Dong paled beside her in terms of dignity. Greetings, High Priest. This subordinate failed to understand the Sea God's will. Punish me as you will. Seahorse Douluo bowed deeply, blaming himself. The woman in red smiled faintly. Her beauty was chillingly serene. This is not your fault. I've never seen such a thing either. It seems many extraordinary talents have arisen on the mainland, truly favored daughters of heaven. I am Poseishi, High Priest of Sea God Island. Welcome. Poseishi's gaze swept over the gathered students and settled on Tang San. Noticing the clear sky hammer in his hand, her expression shifted. Young man, tell me your origin. Tang San's whole body trembled. He had only a black level 6 trial, 2 full levels below Meng Yuran and Shui Wu. So why did the high priest address him first? Could it be his great-grandfather? He cupped his hands respectfully. Junior Tang San greets senior. My great-grandfather's name is Tang Chen. Tang San bowed nearly 90 degrees to the high priest, whose authority represented Sea God Island itself. Hidden in that bowed posture, a small, private smile tugged at the corner of his mouth. No need for such formality. You're Tang Chen's great-grandson? Poseishi's eyes darkened with a touch of sadness. Tang San answered respectfully, yes. Tang San, strive to pass the 6 trials. It will do you much good. You are his descendant. I believe you will perform well. Poseishi's composure returned. She could sense that Tang San's natural aptitude might have been enough for a top-tier 7 trial, yet for some reason, the Sea God's will had lowered his trial level. Perhaps his talent was still, in the Sea God's sight, slightly behind those girls who had received red trials. Poseishi kept such thoughts to herself and instead turned her focus to Meng Yuran and Shui Wu, who had received top-tier 8 trials. the highest a high priest candidate could receive. Surely the final high priest would emerge from between them. You are fortunate. The future of Sea God Island may well be in your hands. She told the 6 Taoyuan students who had already been granted top-tier red trials. My sister and I haven't even gotten our trial levels yet. Are we being ignored? Shuyuer called out, breaking the hush that had fallen over everyone admiring the 6 red trial recipients. 6 red trials meant 1 high priest and 5 Saint Pillar successor candidates. If 2 more appeared, then all 7 Saint Pillars would be reborn. Continue, Poseishi ordered. Seahorse Douluo steadied himself and once more guided the power of the Seahorse Saint Pillar. The pillar's focus touched Duguyan, Shuyuer, and Shui Binger in succession. White, yellow, and purple lights flashed almost instantly beneath their feet. The patterns on the pillar below turned black and climbed rapidly, racing straight up toward the red lights still shining at the top of the Seahorse Saint Pillar. When that red pattern projected repeatedly into the sky above Sea God Island, everyone on the island felt their hearts tighten. The matter was beyond ordinary. Even other Saint Pillar guardians abandoned their posts and hurried toward the Seahorse Saint Pillar without permission. Red trial. Another red trial? The deep red light suddenly smashed through the pillar's apex and then, astonishingly, shifted to a golden red. Outside Sea God Island, the waves erupted, cresting 100 meters high, and the surrounding sea spirit beasts went into a frenzy. Poseishi trembled and whispered, her deep blue eyes wide with disbelief. Sea God, the 9 trials. The one I have waited for all these years has finally appeared. 9 girls, 1 sea god, 1 high priest, 7 guardians. Is this coincidence or the sea god's design? Poseishi was as bewildered as anyone. The shimmering golden light slowly faded and settled back into a deep red. Then, inexplicably, the sequence repeated, 3 times in all. Shui Binger, Shuyuer, and Duguyan had each nearly received the sea god's 9 trials. What kind of trial is that golden light? Someone murmured. Could it be the ultimate sea god trial? 7 and 8 are red-level trials for high priest candidates. Could that golden light be the 9? Another voice said. Senior Sister Binger, Yuer, Senior Sister Yan, what trial did you receive? Shuyuer's heart raced. Hearing that her sister had a top-tier 8 trial filled her with a secret thrill. In the sea god's sight, her potential might not be inferior to her sister's. I got a top-tier 8 trial, Shui Binger replied. I did too, top-tier 8. But just now it felt like my soul was about to be sucked up by some sacred light, Duguyan added. All 9 of us have red trials? Shuyuer's emotions swelled. The possibility that she, too, was not inferior in the sea god's eyes exhilarated her. Seahorse Douluo, who had also never witnessed a golden trial manifestation, was stunned. Poseishi stared up at the sky awash in red light, frowning. At that moment, I distinctly felt the sea god's approval, as if about to confer the 9 trials. Why? Did the sea god ultimately withdraw that recognition from all 3 of them? Could it be that the sea god deems them unready to inherit his mantle? She wondered. Or does the sea god already have other, more outstanding candidates in mind, and thus lowered their trial levels? Only Tang San swayed, suddenly off balance, lightheaded. He looked at Shui Binger and Shuyuer with disbelief. How could this be? My trial level is the lowest, Shuyuer has a top-tier 8 trial, and I only have a black level 6? Am I really worse than all of them? No. Chapter 231, The Legend of the Peach Blossom Immortal. Tang San so angry he spits blood. These 9 students who received top-tier red assessments, all from the same teacher? Reporting to the Great Priest, these 9 geniuses all claim to have studied at Taoyuan Academy. Their spirit power ranges from level 50 to 60, but after verification by Seahorse Saint Pillar, their physiques exceed those of ordinary spirit emperors. It's remarkable. Taoyuan Academy? A spirit master school I've never heard of. What kind of person could train 9 students approved by the sea god? Could it be their teacher is the sea god? Or perhaps Taoyuan, Peach Garden. In the Sea God Hall, Great Priest Poseidon received the report from Seahorse Douluo. Seated on the throne, she stared into the bubble mirror that reflected the conditions across Sea God Island, and a memory flickered through her mind. Not long ago, Tongchen's remnant soul had appeared on Sea God Island to seek one last meeting with his old friend, her. After a brief conversation, his remnant soul had dissipated. During that exchange, Tong Chen had spoken of a peach blossom immortal, a woman of unmatched beauty whose peach blossom branch could split the heavens. He said she was the greatest he had ever seen. Even at his peak, he could not contend with her. It had been that peach blossom immortal who helped him escape the Blood-Red Bat King's control, allowing him to see her one last time before he died. Tang Chen had been unbowed throughout his life, never admitting defeat, not even against her or Liu, the two strongest beings below a god. Yet at the end, he had praised that peach blossom immortal without hesitation, admiration and awe in his voice. That testified to her extraordinary nature. Whether they are the sea god's disciples or students of that ethereal peach blossom immortal, Poseidon thought, if they can pass the assessment, my mission will be complete. She sent a mental command to Seahorse Douluo. Keep a close eye on their safety. Grant them whatever they need, so long as it doesn't involve helping them pass the assessment or crossing any hard lines. And try to be favorable toward Tong San as well, she added after a moment's hesitation. As you command, came the reply. No, Great Priest, Seahorse cannot have all 9 potential candidates to itself. We want to look too. Perhaps some of them will be destined guardians, heirs to our positions. The other 6 guardian Douluos of the Saint Pillars, who had gathered outside the hall, came forward to salute Poseidon and voice their displeasure. It rankled them that Seahorse had produced 9 red-level candidates and even a black-level candidate when their own pillars had seen none in years. Poseidon answered coolly, if they pass the assessment, they will have contact with all of you in time. The 6 other Saint Pillar Guardians were Sea Dragon Douluo, Sea Lance Douluo, Sea Illusion Douluo, Sea Ghost Douluo, Sea Star Douluo, and Sea Maiden Douluo. At the base of Sea God Hall, the stairway that climbed the mountain like a jade belt was crowded with those who had been summoned for the Sea God assessment. They were preparing for their first trial, the climb of the Sea God steps. Teacher, I received a red level 8 trial. Our first test is to cross the Sea God's light and climb the Sea God Hall steps. My senior sister Yaner and I both need to reach the 555th step within a year to pass the first trial. Yuran senior sister and Shuiwu senior sister need 488 steps. Hairo, Ruoshui, Yu, and Qingbo have to climb 399 steps. That annoying Tang San, who knows how many steps he has, humph. Shuiyuer, the teacher's clingy little disciple, whispered through a sound-transmitting conch. Everyone, don't be careless, Shui Binger warned. I just asked a purple-robed spirit master on Sea God Island. In past Sea God's light assessments, an ordinary spirit king who could reach 60 or 70 steps was considered strong. Genius spirit masters at the Spirit Emperor realm, around level 60, usually wouldn't exceed 200 steps, but our assessments require at least 400 steps in many cases. Even a top-tier spirit saint might find that difficult, and most of us are still at the Spirit King realm. As the senior among Taoyuan Academy's 9 disciples, Meng Yuran had already begun climbing, feeling the resistance of the Sea God's light and thinking aloud. Junior sisters, I feel it. This Sea God's light acts like a negative pressure force, weighing us down as we advance. Our teachers' medicinal baths have strengthened our physiques beyond spirit masters of the same realm, but this negative pressure can further stimulate our body's potential. We should conserve our spirit abilities until we reach our physical negative pressure limits. Then we can use ability enhancements or techniques. That will help our cultivation. Then let the teacher see our potential. Only success, no failure, the others cried, encouraging one another before they began the ascent to test their limits. Led by Meng Yiran, Du Guyan, and Shui Binger, they surged ahead, reaching beyond the 50th step in a short time. Behind them came Shui Yuer, Shen Liuyu, Yu Hairo, Chu Ruoshui, Gu Qingbo, and Shui Wu. Even Shui Wu, a soul support type, climbed 30 steps quickly. Her speed was not inferior to those in attack or agility systems. When Shui Binger revealed the conditions of Tong San's first trial, his expression changed. He drew out his own trial badge. The inscription read, First Assessment, Crossing the Sea God's Light. Hint, proceed to the core forbidden land of Sea God Island. Reaching the 156th step before the forbidden land is considered passing the trial. Time limit, 1 year. 156 steps. less than a third of Shui Binger's requirement. He couldn't even compare with Shui Yuer. Even Chu Roshui and Gu Qingbo, who had barely qualified in the Soul Master competition, had nearly double his trial. How could this be? Does the sea god believe their talents and strength far surpass mine? Tang San muttered. I don't accept this, he snarled. Sea god, you've misjudged me. With determination, he set his foot on the steps of the forbidden land. The instant his foot landed, he felt the sea god's light surge at him, a crushing, pushing pressure that weighed his every movement. Where Meng Yuran and Shui Binger moved with relative ease, Tang San found himself struggling after only a few dozen steps. His spirits, Blue-Silver Emperor and Clear Sky Hammer, burst forth. His 5 spirit rings glowed, yellow, yellow, purple, black, black. He gritted his teeth and forced his body onward. By the 40th step, he could barely move. The 8 spider lance's spirit bone on his back extended to brace against the steps below, letting him catch his breath. Using that leverage, he forced himself upward a few more steps, but the spider lances trembled under the strain. He activated the blue-silver domain and the right leg bone of the blue-silver emperor, pushing himself to the 55th step. Then his body could bear no more. An overwhelming force flung him backward. He crashed down onto the platform before the forbidden land, sprawled like a toad. Tang San coughed violently, then looked up at the 9 students from Taoyuan Academy. Du Guyan and Shui Binger, leading their group, glowed faintly and had already passed the 100th step, still climbing. Even Shui Wu, in the rear, and Chu Ruoshui and Gu Qingbo, with lower spirit power, had reached the 70th step. A hot rage rose in Tang San. He spat a mouthful of angry blood into his palm. Has the gap between us already become this great? He thought, breathless and humiliated. Am I really not even as good as any of them? 232. The sea god is dishonest. The immortal grade illusionary rubber fruit. Notification. Disciple Duguyan reached the 166th step of the sea god temple stairs. Spirit power. Rank 60 perfection. Received a god-bestowed spirit ring from the sea god. Age limit 70,000 years. Notification. Disciple Shui Binger set a new record, reaching the 169th step of the sea god temple stairs. Spirit power. Rank 60 perfection. Received a god-bestowed spirit ring from the sea god. Age limit 70,000 years. Notification. Disciple Meng Yuran reached the 151st step of the sea god temple stairs. Spirit power. Rank 60 perfection. Received a god-bestowed spirit ring from the sea god. Age limit 66,000 years. Summoned Spirit Beast. Top-tier sea spirit beast. The Devil Spirit White Shark. 6 months later. Notification. Disciple Shui Binger reached the 388th step of the Sea God Temple stairs. Spirit power rose to Spirit Emperor rank 64. Notification. Disciple Du Guyan reached the 376th step of the Sea God Temple stairs. Spirit power rose to Spirit Emperor 4. Notification. Disciple Meng Yuran reached the 344th step of the Sea God Temple stairs. Spirit power rose to Spirit Emperor. Notification. Disciple Shuiyue reached the 309th step of the Sea God Temple stairs. Spirit power rose to Spirit King rank 56. Notification. Yuhairo reached the 299th step of the Sea God Temple stairs. Spirit power, rank 60 perfection, received a God-bestowed spirit ring. Age limit, 60,000 years. Disciple Shewu reached the 280th step of the Sea God Temple stairs. Spirit power, rank 60 perfection, received a God-bestowed spirit ring. Age limit, 62,000 years. Notification. Roshui reached the 255th step of the Sea God Temple stairs. Spirit power rose to rank 55. Notification. Disciple Shen Liuyu reached the 253rd step of the Sea God Temple stairs. Spirit power rose to rank 50. Disciple Gu Qingbo reached the 251st step of the Sea God Temple stairs. Spirit power rose to rank 55. Host reward. Spirit power increased by 0.3 ranks. Current spirit power, 97 point. Age limits for all spirit rings and spirit bones increased by 5%. Rewards doubled. Spirit bone 10,000 year cultivation fluid ties 18. Spirit ring 10,000 year enhancement fluid 18. Spirit beast 10,000 year cultivation essence. The sun bled into the horizon, gilding the sea with molten gold. Light danced across the waves like a scatter of diamonds as the Taoyuan vessel sat moored beside the reef at Purple Pearl Island. Su Ran sat cross-legged on the deck, the results and rewards of his disciples' sea god trials running quietly through his mind. The sound-transmitting conch by his side sometimes carried their voices, reports, casual chatter, or the occasional homesick murmur. Half a year had slipped by. Under the crucible of sea gods' trials, the children he'd sent out had risen by several ranks and come back with god-bestowed rings. Su Ran let out a soft, involuntary smile. The sea god, he mused, wasn't exactly honest. If his memory served him, the original sea god 9 trials for Spirit Emperor level examinees required ascending 333 steps during the first trial's double traversal of the sea god's light. Yet his disciples, many of them lower level and still working through their 7 and 8 trials, faced a first trial that was far harsher than the one given to divine examinees. Still, the results were encouraging. Over the past 2 years at the academy, his pupils had taken part in the body-tempering medicinal baths he'd left behind. Many had absorbed immortal-grade and near-immortal-grade flowers and herbs, and several practiced peerless-grade cultivation techniques. They'd shown exceptional resilience and aptitude. He was particularly pleased with Shuyue. Her spirit power wasn't high, but her affinity for the ocean was extraordinary. Under the tempering of sea god's light, her flowing water rock shatter fist had already begun to approach mastery. This divine trial ground, truly the continent's cheat, had proven faster for growth than the academy itself. The glow of the setting sun lit Su Ran's features, giving him an almost otherworldly, immortal air. Sailors and pirates passing the island couldn't help but look twice at the young man on the ship. Purple Pearl, practicing her fist techniques on the shore, kept sneaking glances back at him. She flushed when his eyes met hers. There was something in his bearing that stirred a kind of reverent awe in her. Among the rewards Su Ran prized most were the Spirit Beast 10,000-year cultivation essences, 18 doubled bottles. Each bottle could, when consumed, push a Spirit Beast's cultivation forward by nearly 10,000 years, within the 100,000-year cap, and extend its lifespan to some degree. Mingled with blood cinnabar and forged into bait of peerless-grade quality, those 18 bottles could create a lure potent enough to tempt a deep-sea demon whale king, an evolved spirit beast nearing 100,000 years of cultivation and with an added 1,000-year boost to its heavenly tribulation lifespan. Su Ran smiled at the thought. Could the whale king resist such an offer? Purple Pearl, he said, standing to return to the ship's research quarters, remember this. The serpent-form fist fuses the essence of the ocean with your technique. It's cultivated alongside the immortal-grade herb, the illusionary rubber fruit. Once you've fully integrated it, in the sea you'll move like a fish. Your cold poison will be able to attack from a distance, compensating for a serpent-type spirit's weakness in close quarters. Your body will resist heavy blows, but be wary of tool spirit masters wielding sharp-edged tool spirits. Yes, teacher. I'll work hard, Purple Pearl replied, eyes bright with devotion. Her face softened at the praise. After absorbing the illusionary rubber fruit and undergoing additional body tempering, she'd broken through to rank 70 within those 6 months and gained her 7th true body spirit ring, an indigenous profound cold viper of more than 50,000 years. Her spirit power now stood at rank 72. In just half a year studying under Su Ran, she had felt a leap in strength. She no longer feared sea spirit masters at rank 75, or even rank 77. Her serpent-formed body flowed like a tough, surging current through the water. Her hands could extend 10 meters in a fluid motion, spreading her cold venom across that distance. Even if struck by a heavy blow and dents formed in her body, she could restore herself quickly without significant injury. The illusionary rubber fruit's properties granted her a remarkable elasticity. She could tighten or relax her form at will. To Purple Pearl, Su Ran's teaching was worth a lifetime of loyalty. After years on the seas as a pirate, she had never met a mentor like him. Watching his back as he retreated to the ship to work on his bait, she pursed her lips and thought, with the earnest blush of someone making a vow, "Teacher, your kindness cannot be repaid. From now on, your pearl will be polished only for you." Being a pirate king is well and good, but being the pirate king's woman and watching over him, Let teacher be the pirate king. Chapter 233. Tangsan. It's too hard to surpass them. I can't do it. They've already reached the 500th step? Do I even have a chance to catch up? Can I really compete with them? Is this even possible? 500 steps, that's a height I can never hope to reach in my lifetime. It's impossible. Did Suran give me an impossible task and never intend for me to join Taoyuan Academy? 3 more months passed. Under the forbidden land of the Sea God Hall, Tangsan knelt, drenched in sweat, on the 127th step. He was about 30 steps shy of passing the first trial. On any other island, that would have been an achievement to be proud of. But on Sea God Island, among the Taoyuan Academy students who had come here to cultivate, even the lowest among them had climbed more than 300 steps, more than twice his height. At the very front, Du Guyan and Shui Binger had already reached the 500th step in succession. After the 200th step, the sea god's light pressed down like a furnace, and the cultivation techniques and unique skills of the Taoyuan students had advanced at an incredible rate. Immortal-grade herbs they had absorbed earlier were stimulated to their limits under the sea god's light. In just a few months, their spirit power leapt forward. Du Guyan and Shui Binger had surged to Spirit Emperor level 68, advanced. Shui Yuer, who had been quietly rising, used the subtle power of flowing water rock shatter to find a weakness in the sea god's light, and had already reached the 470th-something step, 478. Mengyiran, brilliant in spirit tools and summoning, had slowed after the 400th step and was even overtaken by Shui Yuer. Mengyiran and Shewu's spirit power stabilized at level 67, Yu Hairo at 66, and Shu Yuer rose to level 60 and even received her first god-bestowed spirit ring, fixed at 69,000 years. Chu Ruoshui, Gu Qingbo, and Shen Luyu held at level 58 while using their unique skill subtleties to clash with the sea god's light and strive for the 333rd step. Most astonishing of all, each of the 9 top examinees possessed at least 2 spirit bones over 10,000 years old, and all had suitability ratings above 90%. That detail hit Tangsan the hardest. He had expected Shui Yuer or Chu Ruoshui might pull ahead after a couple years at Taoyuan Academy, but he had never expected them to develop so explosively, to be as formidable as spirit kings who could rival spirit emperors, even contend with spirit saints. Each of them had techniques and unique skills that perfectly matched their spirit, and several had beast spirit to boost their bodies, giving them a clear advantage under the sea god's light. Unlike Shui Binger and Du Guyan, who rose and receded with grace and who advanced methodically, Tangsan was trying desperately to prove himself and catch up. He pushed himself to the limit time and again, only to be violently repelled by the sea god's light, losing strength and tumbling down the sea god's stair, sometimes more than 100 steps at a time. His body slammed against the step edges over and over, skin tore, bones cracked, blood flowed. He had to lie on a nearby stone and recover, teeth clenched, unwilling to accept defeat. Tangsan, hold on, you can do this, he told himself. The stronger they are, the more it proves the rightness of aiming for Taoyuan Academy. Didn't the Tang sect refuse us outer sect disciples before? I proved myself, if Shui Yuer can grow into someone who climbs 500 steps, then with a good teacher at Taoyuan, I could become stronger than them. Being behind now doesn't mean being behind forever. There are still 5 trials after this. If I surpass even one of them. He healed his wounds with the Blue-Silver Emperor's help, relying on himself alone now, no foundation left to fall back on. Gaining Teacher Su's approval seemed the only shortcut to a comeback. Too strong. This batch of examinees is simply too strong, murmured the 7 sacred pillar guardians of Sea God Island as they watched. Great Priestess Poseishi watched closely as well, eyes bright with admiration. She had not expected the standard to be so high, not only that the 9 had all reached red trial status, but that the sea god's blessings seemed so frequent. She glanced at the sea god statue and could not help but wonder. If the sea god truly favored a successor, why hadn't he already bestowed the 9 trials outright? Was the sea god hesitating? The sea god's first trial, the sea god's light, was meant above all to test willpower and potential. The Taoyuan students had already endured intense physical training and immortal-grade transformations. Faced with the sea god's test, they didn't merely pass, many overfulfilled it by 5 to 30 steps. From the 555th step, one could overlook most of Sea God Island. Gulls wheel in the sky, sea spirit beasts glide through island rivers, a peaceful scene. The rewards and evaluations for the first trial were handed out. Those who completed the red trial gained a spirit power level and had their spirit ring lifespan extended by 500 to 800 years. Tang San, receiving a black level 6 trial, passed the trial but received no such extension. It's a pity I still couldn't surpass senior sister in speed, Shui Yuer said with a light laugh, basking in the sea god's light. Her exhaustion eased and her spirit power rose to level 63. Though she was still several levels below Shui Binger, the gap was closing. In the last 55 steps, her flowing water rock shatter had advanced. She could now condense water into a pinpoint and shatter rock and mountain with a single strike. Crossing the sea god's light had also strengthened her affinity with the sea god, which suited her subduing waves technique, harnessing the power of water to stir river and sea, allowing her to stand on par with the more naturally gifted Shui Binger and Du Guyan. Yuer's confident about doing well, Chiro Shui said with a smile. Don't be complacent. For teacher's reward, we'll work even harder in the next assessments. All right, Shui Yuer agreed. When we return to the academy, we'll catch up to senior sister Rongrong and the others. We'll form the academy's water department and show them what we can do. Chapter 234, Tidal Body Refining, the Peach Garden students' astonishing martial bodies. Congratulations on completing your first trial. You have all done exceedingly well. Your future achievements will not fall short of mine. Sea God Island may be about to enter its most prosperous era in history. Your second trial is Tidal Body Refining. Follow me. After everyone finished the first trial and rested briefly, they checked the description of their second trial. It was the same for all of them, Tidal Body Refining. Poseishi's voice floated faintly from the Sea God Hall. In the blink of an eye, she streaked across the sky and landed on a rocky peak several hundred meters away. The peak was entirely black stone, barren and stripped of vegetation. Its outer rim had been hollowed into a basin by relentless waves, and furious seawater surged into it, forming towering breakers that smashed against the rock. Is this the roaring wave abyss? It's extraordinary. They say that hollow was formed by the sea eroding the rock over countless years. Teacher was right. Water that seems soft and harmless can unleash terrifying force. Seawater surges from the abyss, water shatters rock, and those waves can conquer any maritime danger. The roaring wave abyss suits me perfectly. I'll overtake my older sister in this second trial. Shuier stood on the peak, watching the ocean's raw power with no hint of fear. Shui Binger only smiled lightly. I'll give it my all too. This is about teacher's reward. There's no holding back, even against Yuer. That's right, Yuer. Although your unique skills and spirit match the ocean best, don't forget that Qingbo, Ro Shui, and I are water-type spirit masters too. Yuhairo tapped Shui Yuer's nose playfully. Come on, only the very best in this assessment is worthy of spraying water for teacher. No, only then can they earn teacher's first reward. Shuier struck a flowing water stance, her whole being at one with the sea. You knew this was the roaring wave abyss? It seems your teacher briefed you on Sea God Island before you arrived, Poseishi said. But apart from you, the 7 sacred pillar spirit masters and the island's guardians, few on the Blue Pole continent know the layout. Who exactly is your teacher? At the mention of their teacher, curiosity lit Poseishi's face. Shui Yuer answered proudly, though the others' expressions softened into fond remembrance as they spoke. Great priestess, I won't reveal too much. Don't get any improper ideas. But, well, teacher isn't here anyway. Fine, I'll tell you. Our teacher is the greatest, most incredible man in the world. We are who we are because he taught us. If not for him, we wouldn't even have had a chance to train on Sea God Island. Shuyuer's voice brimmed with affection. His name is Su Ran, Peach Blossom Teacher, Su Ran. Remember it, he's perfect. As they spoke, their longing showed. They had already been on Sea God Island nearly a year. Time flew. They wondered how teacher was doing, whether he waited for them, whether he watched over them. Whenever they sent messages through the sound-transmitting conch, teacher replied so little they worried he had been intercepted by some scheming beauty. Purple Pearl, what a name. Pearls form from the tender flesh of clams grinding against stones over years, and now purple. How terrifying. With Bibi Dong having once waylaid him, they fretted for his safety. Teacher, be careful. Don't let those flirtatious women win. Duguyan and Shui Binger steered the conversation back. Great Priestess, please begin our second trial. We want to finish the sea god trials quickly. All right. Paseishi gave the 9 students a long, searching look. As someone who had managed Sea God Island for nearly a century, she could sense feelings in others. Their adoration for this peach blossom teacher was more than mere student respect. It carried far deeper admiration. Could this Suran truly be greater even than Tong Chen and the sea god? The thought seemed unlikely, and Paseishi let the doubt sit unresolved. She raised her hands slowly, and the spirit ring configuration on her flashed, 8 black rings and 1 red. A light blue radiance spread over the roaring wave abyss, calming the wild breakers for a moment. Then, with a thunderous roar, 10 gray pillars rose from the sea, arranged in a scattered formation. Tang San's eyes widened. The pillars were solid, deep-sea sinking silver, the main material for making the torrential pear blossom needles. He remembered the lack of power in the first pear blossom needles he'd crafted had been largely due to insufficient deep-sea sinking silver. Meng Yuan, though, remained composed. Deep-sea sinking silver was precious, but it was far less valuable than the materials for the crack soul sky-shattering cannon or the 100-li soul-piercing snipe that their teacher had shown them. Your second trial differs from mine, Paseishi said. My second trial was transmigration of the ring sea. I reached tidal body refining only in the third trial. You come to tidal body refining in your second trial because the height of your first trial was unusually great. Accordingly, the intensity you will endure here will exceed that of many others. She explained the requirements plainly. Those classified as top tier 8 must train on the sinking silver pillars at least 14 hours a day. Top tier 7 must train at least 10 hours a day. For black level 6, you must be bound to the sinking silver pillars and endure tidal impacts 8 hours a day for 365 days to be considered to have passed. If you face danger during tidal body refining, you may call for help at any time. I will remain here. Then Paseishi looked directly at Tang San and recited the terms of his assessment. Tang San felt relief. 8 hours was only 2 hours less than Chiro Shui and the others. It wasn't a huge gap. He still had a chance to close it. He cupped his hands and respectfully requested, Respected Sea God Great Priestess, may I have the same opportunity as them? Could I increase my time to 10 hours a day? If I persist, could I raise it further? Tang San, I think you've misunderstood. Poseishi's smile was gentle but firm. Your trial is bound body refining. You will be tied to the sinking silver pillars and must endure the impact of the waves to refine your body. Their trial is active training, which is different. They face no bindings. They must resist the tidal waves using their own strength, standing on the pillars through the highest tides. Completing the assessment within 365 days requires standing steadfast for 24 hours at the peak of the tide, or 18 hours depending on rank, without being washed away. Tang San's heart sank. He had once trained under a waterfall with Tang Hao. He knew at once that these were not comparable tests. One was about passive endurance to temper the body. The other was about actively fighting the tide. There was no comparison. I admire your perseverance, Paseishi continued, but Tang San, willpower alone cannot make up for differences in martial bodies. The sea god has judged that those others possess powerful martial bodies. The assessment I give them is one I have never seen a bound candidate face. If you insisted on undertaking the same test as them, I fear you would die in the roaring wave abyss. I cannot recommend it. Her words cut deep, like a blade. Tang San took 2 stumbling steps back, his chest hurting. He had thought he could compete equally. To find out he had been placed on an entirely different level, this stung far more than he expected. Chapter 235, Achievement Beyond Limits, the 7th 100,000-year spirit ring. Tang San completely breaks down. Sister, watch my flowing water rock-shattering fist. Crashing waves. Dawn. In the raging wave desperation realm, the tidal body refining trial had already been underway for over a month. Du Guyan, Shui Binger, Shui Yuer, and the others from Taoyuan Academy were gradually getting used to the furious surges. Where they had once been helplessly slammed against black rock and left wailing, they were beginning to stand firm. Sister, it hurts so much. Hurts. Just pretend the teacher's rough with you. If you imagine it as that, it hurts less. It really does feel strange. Pain, but also a kind of happiness. In a month's time, aided by their transformed and enhanced physiques, they learned to take the wave's blows. Shuayuer stood on one of the deep-sea sinking silver pillars, her feet slightly sinking in. Her spirit attached, the water she cupped between her hands coalesced at a single point and leapt like a dolphin. When a monstrous wall of water, tens to nearly 100 meters high, struck, she pulled the blocked current behind her and surged back. One punch, a cracking boom echoed through the wave, and a hollow ring opened. The wave pushed her only a few steps back. Not a drop touched her. The others were just as impressive. Shui Binger, an ice phoenix incarnation, combined frozen ice cotton palm with heaven frost fist. Her left palm turned the blue waves into delicate ice threads. Her right fist followed to smash through the long wave, holding her ground on the pillar. Shuiwu danced atop her pillar with slender jade hands, calling down a blizzard that crystallized the sea into linked snowflake-patterned ice plates. As the wave hit, the ice slowly shattered, its force greatly diminished when it reached her. A tilt of her hand reformed the broken sheets into a coffin of ice, and she stood unscathed as spray only sprinkled the pillar. Shen Luyu wrapped her hands in a frost alligator and shouted, "Profound ice alligator soar!" A giant alligator of ice surged from the depths, scales glittering with frost. It rammed the tidal wall, and Shen Luyu retreated only a few paces before steadying herself. Yu Hero and Gu Qingbo transformed into dark tides and swordfish, merging with the sea. Following their teacher's method, they gathered the wave's power to enhance their own agility, moving with the surf along the pillar's edge, the Tai Chi of the sea, the principle of using 4 ounces to deflect 1,000 pounds. Chiruoshui, graceful and poised, held her lotus sea spear at the edge and drew currents into a dragon, a lotus sea dragon, that smashed into the wave, sending cascades of spray everywhere. The most fearsome, though, was Meng Yuran. In motion, she could pass through the Yellow Springs with body movement crossing Yellow Springs. Why merely roar at the waves? At rest, she was a mountain. Wielding a dark gold snake staff as a focus point, she summoned the essence of a 10,000-year spirit beast as an immovable wall. At first, she used a hell underworld weapon, the Manu Zhenqian Ji, the demon's wrath suppressing heaven finger, to still the tide with a single finger. Only later did she recall the trial forbade external weapons, but its oppressive might had already shocked everyone. Manu Zhenqian Ji, one of the top hidden weapons among the 3,000 Hell Underworld weapons, and one of the 18 Demon's Wrath Underworld weapons. It functions as a spirit-guided device of dark primordial stone, unleashed like a descending demon's finger. So the 9 Taoyuan Academy girls advanced through the layers of giant waves, growing stronger with each passing tide. At the very end of the line of sinking silver pillars, a young man was tied to a cross on top of one pillar, hair drenched, body battered, undergoing his own body refining by the sea. If the waves' relentless pounding were pure physical torment, Tang San's real suffering came from watching the Taoyuan students on the other pillars. Each displayed their own brilliance. Each could unleash devastating power even amid the surging walls. Through Tang San's eyes, their physical bodies already rivaled spirit saints who had advanced to the 7th spirit ability incarnation state. No wonder the Academy's second challenge wasn't merely enduring the tides, it was resisting them. If he had been a Taoyuan student, Tang San thought bitterly, he would have been at the forefront. With his physique and the clear sky hammer, one strike could shatter a 100-meter wave and make a statement no one could ignore. But now he was bound and humiliated, soaked by seawater and pummeled daily. His skin had been bleached white by the salt and his body bruised. He was utterly unable to struggle. Even if he passed the Black Level 6 trial, how could he be happy about it? He couldn't withdraw. If he failed, he would die. He had to get that God-bestowed spirit ring. There was no choice. In the first trial, Tang San had only climbed about 150 steps. Though his spirit power had increased, it lagged far behind Shui Yuer and the others. While the Taoyuan students had shot forward, many reaching level 60 and beyond, his spirit power lingered around level 57 to 58. The Taoyuan students, especially the long-trained Dugu Yan and Meng Yuran, had years of academy trials and exceptional comprehension. In under 3 months, some had pushed spirit power to the high 60s and could stand solid against the waves. Within 4 months, everyone completed the second trial, surpassing their limits. Each had endured continuously on their sinking silver pillar for over 25 hours. Dugu Yan, Meng Yuran, Shui Binger, and Shui Wu reached level 70 spirit power. Yu Hairo and Shui Yuer reached level 69 and 68 respectively. Shen Liuyu, Chu Ruoshui, and Gu Qingbo broke through level 60, acquired their 6th god-bestowed spirit rings, and rose to level 65. That day, Poseidon descended in a crimson robe, her eyes full of admiration. These children had passed the tidal trial faster than she had expected. Over those 4 months, she had watched them closely and been most surprised by their rare divine abilities, not mere spirits or spirit techniques, but a kind of divine ability that fused their spirits and spirit skills and pushed their physical potential to the extreme. She had seen something like this before in Tang Chen, whose comprehension had let him seize the Clear Sky Hammer's divine ability. Now, among the sea gods' trial takers, 7 such divine ability users had appeared. Their futures, she realized, might be no less remarkable than Tang Chen's. No wonder the sea gods' trials pushed them so far beyond the ordinary. Congratulations! You have passed the second trial of tidal body refining. You still have an opportunity to receive a god-bestowed spirit ring. Prepare to be baptized by the god-bestowed spirit ring. Rays of blue light rose and fell, touching Dugu Yan, Meng Yuran, Shui Wu, and Shui Binger. The light wrapped around them. After a while, the black light on their bodies deepened and then shifted to red. With a roar, a tremendous aura burst from them all. The 7th spirit ring, a red ring, a 100,000-year spirit ring. Looking at the spirit ring configuration that appeared on Dugu Yan, Meng Yuran, Shui Wu, and Shui Binger, it read, purple, 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 black, purple, black, black, red. Tied to his pillar, being battered by another towering surge, Tang San could no longer hold back. He broke down completely. No, those spirit rings should be mine. You stole my life. Before he could finish, a violent wave smashed over him. Salt water gushed into his mouth. When Tang San's body re-emerged in the air, he coughed violently, water dripping from his ears, nose, and eyes. Chapter 236, Trial of Miracles. Respect the teacher and follow the teacher. It's a 100,000-year spirit ring, a 7th spirit ring at 100,000 years. This is unreal. Teacher's former spirit ring configuration wasn't this strong, was it? I can't wait to see my 7th spirit ring. Teacher said the 7th ring is the most important one, the real watershed for spirit masters. I wonder what Sister's 7th brought her. On the rocky peak of the Raging Wave Desperation Realm, Shui Yuer stared at the 7th rings of the senior sisters, each condensed into a 100,000-year spirit ring with a mixture of envy and anticipation. Shui Binger and the others floated down gracefully, their spirit rings retracting as they exhaled softly. My 7th ring gave me the Ice Phoenix true body, Shui Binger said. I can soar through the sky now. All my spirit abilities are amplified, my physique is much stronger, and my ice attribute has reached a new peak. She looked at her hands. Her arms could instantly become ice feathers, and the breath she drew could freeze the moisture in the air. The temperature dropped by tens of degrees, approaching absolute zero, an ability even Shui Binger's mother, the dean of Tianshui Academy, couldn't match. Shui Wu, Dugu Yan, and Meng Yuran each described the boosts their spirit true bodies provided. Shui Wu's transformed into an ice disaster body, an ice and snow cataclysm that could alter the environment itself, turning snowflakes into powerful offensive tools and even surpassing Shui Binger's control of ice. Dugu Yan pushed her Calamity Poison attack to its extreme, manifesting not only an Azure Phosphorus Serpent Empress true body, but a Calamity true body that allowed her to solidify poisonous gas and dramatically speed poison circulation through her body. Meng Yuran awakened an undead true body, enabling her to summon undead creatures whose strength was greatly magnified. Under the amplification of their 100,000-year spirit true bodies, each of them rose sharply in strength. Shui Yuer, who had only just been catching up with Shui Binger after great effort, felt the gap widen again at this last threshold. Shui Binger could now suppress her in a fight, though once Shui Yuer reached level 70, the balance might shift again. 100,000-year spirit ring, Poseidon muttered. When I increased my own 9th ring, I only once obtained a 100,000-year ring. I didn't expect your 7th rings to be this potent. Poseidon was puzzled. She had expected the sea god's legacy trial to be bestowed on the most outstanding among the 9, but the sea god had withdrawn it. She could only watch with some surprise as Shui Binger, Du Guyan, and the others grew stronger. All right, since you've quickly passed the 2nd trial, prepare for the 3rd, Poseidon said to Shui Binger and the rest. If you're tired, I can arrange lodging on the island so you can rest. Shui Yuer stretched. All the recent training had activated her meridians and left her bones aching. She wondered how senior brother Wang Sheng could punch endlessly without his fists getting tired. Shui checked her refreshed sea god assessment token and read aloud the 3rd trial's wording. 3rd trial, trial of legendary trust. Task, sit upon the devil throne atop the skull of the 100,000-year devil spirit great white shark king, or assist a person of life and death trust to sit upon the devil throne and use the devil spirit great white shark to hunt the evil spirit orca king among the evil spirit orca pack. When she finished, Shui Binger, Shui Yuer, and the others all checked their tokens. Surprise spread across their faces. Our tests are the same. We have to control the 100,000-year devil spirit great white shark to hunt the 100,000-year evil spirit orca king. Oh my God. This trial expects us not only to conquer a 100,000-year spirit beast, but to hunt another 100,000-year spirit beast? Can we even do this? Even with level 71 breakthroughs and 100,000-year rings, that didn't automatically mean they could defeat a 100,000-year ocean spirit beast. To overcome such a beast usually required a sea spirit master of at least level 95, and that was to defeat it in combat, not to control it as a hunting partner. But this devil spirit great white shark is Sea God Island's guardian divine beast. It shouldn't be hostile to us, right? If a 100,000-year spirit beast helps us hunt another 100,000-year spirit beast, and if we can demonstrate life and death trust among us, then as long as one of us gains the shark's recognition, it should count as success. The difficulty is high, but it's possible. Meng Yiran stroked her chin and analyzed the situation. Yes, if you can win Xiao Bai's recognition, your current strength might be enough to take down the evil spirit orca king. But Poseidon, who had also received the content of the 9 examinees' 3rd trial, looked uneasy. The 3rd trial had a puzzling edge to it. But what? Shui Binger pressed. You cannot sit on Xiao Bai's devil throne. Poseidon's words left the 9 students stunned. She explained, do you know why, even though Xiao Bai is the guardian spirit beast of Sea God Island, it's still called a devil spirit great white shark? Because devil spirit great white sharks have their own murderous, demonic side. Once unleashed, they are the fiercest predators in the sea and are extremely hard to control. The devil throne on the skull of the 100,000-year devil spirit great white shark king is the switch that releases their demonized side, their most powerful state, and at the same time their greatest vulnerability. Even I would not be allowed to sit there unless the survival of Sea God Island depended on it. Only the sea god can truly sit on that throne and fully control Xiao Bai. Given the nature of the devil spirit great white shark king, it would be nearly impossible for the children to complete the first requirement. Xiao Bai would sooner fight them to the death than allow them to control it. So difficult, one of the students whispered. Is the sea god deliberately setting a task we can't complete? Another murmured. Poseidon drew a breath and met their eyes. The sea god would not assign an impossible task. Among you, or among those you trust with your lives, there must be someone the sea god believes can master Xiao Bai. You must find and prove that person yourselves. As for fairness, this is all I can tell you. I wish you success on the 3rd trial. The person of life and death trust. Sister is one, and also teacher. Shuayuer thought a moment, then looked around. 9 pairs of eyes met, and all spoke the same 2 words, teacher. If teacher comes, neither the devil spirit great white shark nor the evil spirit orca king should be a match for him, they all said. But this is our assessment. We shouldn't trouble teacher unless we absolutely have to. We'll try on our own first. If it still fails, then we'll decide whether to seek teacher's help. Great priest, where is the 100,000-year devil spirit great white shark? We want to try now. It's in that circular sea area, Poseidon said, pointing toward the waters around Sea God Island. As the Peach Garden students bowed and hurried off, Poseidon watched them go with a mix of surprise and curiosity. Teacher? Their teacher? Could it be that the sea god's target really is their teacher? Is their teacher truly that capable that even the sea god takes an interest? From below the raging wave desperation realm, Tang San's voice suddenly rang out, raw with emotion. Sea god Douluo, help me. You are the great priest of Sea God Island and can communicate with the sea god. You can help me become stronger. For the sake of my great-grandfather Tang Chen, please help me. I have to be stronger than them, even one of them. I beg you. Tang San's eyes were red. They had already moved on to the 3rd trial, while his 2nd trial's time hadn't even finished halfway. The affront stung. Poseidon glanced coldly at Tang San, who was bound to the deep-sea silver pillar, and snorted. Although I knew your great-grandfather, if he saw you acting like this, he would be disappointed. I am the great priest of the sea god, and I will judge these trials fairly. If you try to break the rules and use me to pass the trial, I will petition the sea god to extend your 2nd trial, the tidal body refining, by half a year. Crack. It sounded, hollow and final, like a heartbreaking. Tang San's hope, his will to be strong, shattered and sank beneath the waves. Chapter 237. You just wait for me. When I bring our teacher, you'll be begging to accept him as your master. Outside Sea God Island, in the ring-shaped sea area, the water was a clear, vivid blue. Several powerful sea spirit beasts patrolled the depths. Arrow killfish, sea dragon beasts, bronze bone sharks. Dominating them all were the devil spirit great white sharks, gleaming white over their streamlined bodies, with jaws able to crush bone and tear iron. When they hunted, they struck in swarms, able to tear apart a 10,000-year spirit beast in under a minute. Near the shore, a massive shark over 20 meters long churned the waves with each movement. Then, with a thunderous crash, 3 figures were blasted onto the sand. Yu Hairo, Chu Roshui, and the others hurried forward. Sister Binger, Senior Sister Yan, are you all right? Was the devil spirit great white shark king hostile? They asked. Shui Binger and Dugu Yan took a moment to steady themselves. 100,000-year spirit beast is still 100,000-year spirit beast, Shui Binger said. It was once the sea god's mount. When we suggested sitting on its devil spirit throne, it flew into a rage. Shu Yuer had also been pushed back several steps, shaken. It truly lives up to its name, she admitted. My flowing water rock shattering fist couldn't break it. She bit us off for suggesting we ride it. Rude, someone grumbled. And it's a female, too. At that moment, the giant 100,000-year devil spirit great white shark leapt from the sea. As she left the water, drifts of spray accompanying her, her massive shark form blurred and shifted into a human-like figure. White leather clung to a perfect, alluring shape. Long gray-blue hair cascaded down her back. A high, elegant nose gave her an exotic look. But fury tightened her features. The moment her feet hit the sand, she pointed at Shuayuer. Arrogant humans, I will kill you, she snapped. Her voice was oddly clipped, but her movements were lethal and fast. Before the words even finished, she blurred forward in a gray-blue streak and materialized in front of Shuayuer. Shuayuer had no choice but to unleash her flowing water rock-shattering fist to block the devil spirit's heavy blow. Her footwork flowed like a stream, and she slipped to the side, while Shui Binger, Duguyan, Meng Yiran, Gu Qingbo, and the others all activated their spirits to form a protective ring around her. Shui Wu even triggered her ice calamity body. In an instant, the 100 meters around them became a world of ice and snow. Devil Spirit Great White Shark King, Shui Binger called out, we only wanted to be friends and ask you to fight alongside us. Even if you refuse, you should not try to kill Yuer. What do you know? That's an insult, the shark spirit snarled. On the top of a devil spirit great white shark's skull sits the devil spirit place, the vulnerable spot that, in a lifetime, only ever hosts two riders, a mate or an accepted master. These intruding humans were all females, clearly not mates. That left only the other possibility. They wanted to subdue her and take her as a master. Since the sea god's ascension, she'd been masterless. Now, at a 100,000-year peak, no one had ever conquered her. Devil spirit great white sharks over 1,000 years old could contend with 10,000-year spirit beasts. At 100,000, her strength rivaled high-level super spirit beasts. Xiaobai's true power was at least equivalent to a rank 96 or 97 super Douluo, undeniably one of the strongest on Sea God Island. A band of young spirit emperors in assessment trying to take her as a master? Insulting. If she hadn't been under the sea god's assessment constraint, she would have ripped them apart. With a snort, she unleashed an instant volley of 9 shark blade projections, each slashing toward one of Taoyuan Academy's 9 disciples. Shui Binger, watching the Great White's movements, countered with her 9 frost fists. Ice and water exploded where fist struck blade. But Xiaobai was agile. She leapt, her lower half flicking back into a massive shark tail and sweeping through the air. The tail's impact was enormous. The 9 Peach Garden students, trained to contend even with giant waves in the raging wave desperation realm, met the tail head-on. 9 fists struck in unison, and to everyone's surprise, repelled the devil spirit's tail. Xiaobai twisted midair. The tail became elegant legs again. Behind her, rows of condensed devil spirit's teeth materialized and hurled themselves toward Shuyuer. Devil spirit's teeth was one of her deadliest moves. She'd turn her sharp, sturdy fangs into sword-like, heavy projectiles. Shuyuer dared not be reckless. Channeling her spirit to its limit, she met the devil teeth bare-handed with her flowing water rock-shattering fist, a bold move that made Xiaobai pause. No one had ever tried to take that attack bare-handed before. Still, 100,000-year spirit beast is what it is. The devil teeth ground apart the flow between Yuer's hands, sending pain through her fists. She was forced back across the sand, fingers throbbing, leaving a dragged line behind her. Profound ice crocodile soaring, Shen Luyu called, her hands flicking. A brilliant ice crocodile burst forth and crashed into Xiaobai. Qiruoshui, spear in hand, thrust her lotus sea-long spear and summoned a lotus flood dragon that surged up from the waves. Flanked by the ice crocodile and the lotus dragon, and amplified by Shui Wu's domain, their combined strike pushed the great white back. Xiaobai grabbed the crocodile with one hand and the flood dragon with the other, but an ice phoenix's assault still forced her to stagger. She looked surprised. These testers were far stronger than she'd expected. Each one's power exceeded what their spirit power ranks suggested. "I've been too merciful to you," Xiaobai snarled. A devil spirit domain burst out from her, dragging down everyone's spirit power. Mobility and mental force sagged under its pressure. "Careful. She's getting serious," Duguyan warned, poison crackling around her. When Duguyan's calamity poison emerged, the plants across hundreds of meters withered and died. The nearby arrowfish began foaming at the mouths. Xiaobai's eyes widened at the spread of poison. She sprang back and dove into the sea, her body snapping into the giant shark form with a thunderous roar. A terrifying ocean vortex condensed around her. From her gaping maw, she unleashed a meter-wide demonic beam of devil spirit's teeth, aimed at Duguyan and the others. "Humans, stop! Your toxins will destroy Sea God Island," she thundered. "I won't slaughter you, but get away. For you to be my masters? Impossible. I finally tasted freedom after the Sea God's ascension. I won't bow to you. You're not worthy. Give up this idea." The demonic light struck with terrifying force. Even Duguyan and Shui Binger couldn't withstand it. The blast gouged a huge pit into the shore. When the dust settled, Shui Binger, Shui Yuer, Duguyan, and the others were disheveled and shaken. The devil spirit Great White Shark King had already submerged into the deep. "She's unbelievably strong," someone breathed. "That had to be her full power." "What do? We can't use poison or hell artifacts. She's so resilient, and once she dives, she's gone. Do we have to give up?" Meng Yuran looked helpless, but Shui Yuer only straightened, fists clenched, a cold light in her eyes. "She truly lives up to being the sea god's mount, arrogant and powerful. If she hadn't held back, we'd have needed at least rank 80 to take her. Thankfully, she's a female, Shui Binger added. I refuse to believe she can keep this arrogance in front of our teacher. You don't mean? Exactly. We're going to get our teacher right now. Let's see if she can keep being arrogant when he shows up. Shui Yuer shouted toward the ring-shaped sea. Just wait, Devil Spirit Great White Shark King. I'll find someone you'll kneel before and beg to let you rest your Devil Spirit place on their skull. From the deep, Xiaobai's sharp voice drifted back, carrying a trace of scorn. Humph, impossible. You're dreaming. Chapter 2 and 38, How to Trick the Teacher into Taking Action. Sea Viper. Rubber double guns. Bang, bang, bang. On Purple Pearl Island, the pirate crew's captain had grown used to the changes brought by the immortal-grade rubber fruit. Under the guidance of his teacher, Su Ran, he had learned to fuse his rubber body with his spirit. His hands shot out like springs. Using the rebound, he launched himself into the air. Mid-flight, his fists split and reformed into twin sea snake heads that spat cold poison rounds at a target several hundred meters away. The cold poison shots slammed into the fish in the water, piercing them, turning their flesh a sickly purple-black. Anyone who picked them up would find them unnaturally cold to the touch. Sea Viper, Rubber Rocket. With a roar, Purple Pearl's rubber hands wove together. The two snake heads fused into a single, gigantic viper cannon and fired a rocket that streaked toward a cliff on Purple Pearl Island. The blast smashed a great boulder on the cliff to pieces. It tumbled into the sea with a thunderous crash. Teacher, I did it! I fused the rocket! The pirates on the island stared, mouths open. They could scarcely imagine what that cannon would do to a passing cruiser. Most ships would be torn in two and sent to the depths. More than anything, the cannon's range and power made it a terrifying sea weapon. Purple Pearl stood on the deck of the Taoyuan vessel, grinning and bowing toward the cabin above. Only a soft voice floated down from the top deck. Not bad. There's still room for improvement. The firing rate on the twin guns isn't like a machine gun, and the rocket's punch can't compare to a true siege cannon. Keep practicing. I look forward to the day you become Pirate King. That would be a noble goal. Yes, teacher. I'll keep working hard. Teacher, not long ago we went to the Black Sea to clear out a band of evil spirit masters and came back with some star sea coral tea. Would you like to try some? I'll brew it for you. On the deck, Purple Pearl produced a small box of precious tea. The leaves shimmered with faint starlight, pale blue in color. They warmed and nourished the body and were one of the rarest commodities in the ocean market. They could only be harvested in waters so pure that the slightest pollution would ruin them. Land merchants might imagine tea was a terrestrial luxury, but among ocean folk tea was in highest demand. Long voyages drained nutrients. Many spirit masters kept tea as a necessity because it supplemented the body and was easy to store and carry. Star sea coral tea? Sounds intriguing. If teacher drinks it, can senior sister as well? Teacher standards are a bit high. It's only been a year, and junior sister Pearl has already made enormous progress. She's reached the advanced spirit saint realm. Remarkable. Before Purple Pearl could reply, several sweet voices chimed in behind her. She turned to see 9 exquisitely beautiful girls arrayed on the deck like ocean heralds smiling at her. Purple Pearl blinked, then bowed quickly. Purple Pearl greets all the senior sisters. Of course, senior sisters are welcome to some, but weren't you cultivating on Sea God Island? How did you return so soon? And how did you tell I'm already an advanced spirit saint? I thought my strength was secret. You don't need to be told. You can tell. When you start cultivating with teacher, not improving 1 or 2 ranks is an insult to him. Shui Yuer patted Purple Pearl on the shoulder. Purple Pearl laughed. That's true. Teacher knows everything. I feel like my potential's been unleashed. You girls, come back and you're already grabbing teacher's tea? A youth with an ethereal air stepped out from the upper cabin, looking at the 9 women with amused helplessness. Oh, teacher won't miss a little tea. If we drank you, teacher, wouldn't you be even more unbearable? Teacher, we came back for a reason. Shuyer's voice turned pitiful. Woo, Sea God set us a difficult trial. We had to return and ask for your help. We really need your help, Shui Binger added. Sea God's 3rd trial is to subdue, or have a trusted ally subdue, the devil spirit great white shark king. I think only teacher can help us. No, you must rely on your own strength. The devil spirit great white shark is the guardian of Sea God Island, and you are the examinees. It's only right that you contend with her yourselves. I, teacher, am an outsider. If I laid hands on the guardian beast of Sea God Island, wouldn't that be a provocation? Suran descended to the deck, the sea breeze ruffling his hair and carrying a hint of blue melancholy as he refused. The 9 disciples surrounded him, pleading and putting on all manner of coquetry. Shuyuer tugged at his sleeve and then lifted her right hand. Purple Pearl noticed the bite marks on 4 of her fingers, crescent scars that were pale and jade-like, and feigned misery. Wah, teacher, that devil spirit great white shark is terrifying. She tried to kill us. If you don't help, my senior sisters and I will really die. Suran sank into a chair on the deck, watching them cluster about him like flowers. He wasn't wholly immune to their charms. After a moment's deliberation, he spoke. If you want me to act, I can. The 9 gasped at once. But I have one condition, he said. To test your strength and judgment, you must lure the devil spirit great white shark king out of Sea God Island, out of the circular sea area that protects it, and into the waters around Purple Pearl Island. Once she's lured that far out, I will step in and help you tame her. Purple Pearl Island lay hundreds of miles from Sea God Island. Luring the guardian beast out would not be easy. Shuyuer didn't hesitate. All right, no problem. I knew teacher loves us best. Moi, teacher, a kiss. Yuer. Suran blushed and swatted away thunderstruck as the 9 erupted into delighted squeals. Chapter 239, Shuyuer's Defiant Ultimate, Stealing the Devil Spirit Great White Shark King's Innocence. Great Priestess, what happened to Xiaobai? I sense her fury. Xiaobai usually jokes around and teases the examinees, but she never gets genuinely serious. With her posture now, she's truly been provoked. Great Priestess, should we stop Xiaobai? These 9 examinees are, after all, recognized by Lord Sea God. If she kills them, that will be a loss for Sea God Island. In the Sea God Hall, the Great Priestess Poseidon felt the commotion in the annular sea and walked out, gazing toward the ocean in surprise. A question formed in her mind. What could have roused Xiaobai so? They're trying to lure Xiaobai out of the Sea God Island's waters. Have they found a way to goad her? Poseidon said to the sea dragon and the sea witch beside her. You 2 follow behind Xiaobai. If necessary, stop her from killing the examinees. If there's no irreversible harm, don't step in overtly. Yes, the burly middle-aged man and the graceful mermaid answered, then dove into the sea and departed. Out on the outer sea, chaos erupted. Yuer, what did you do? The devil spirit great white shark is chasing like mad. She's trying to kill you. Run, Yuer. This time she means it. What? I only borrowed senior sister Euron's Monu Gentian G, the demon's wrath-suppressing heaven finger, just like she used in the Raging Wave Desperation realm. I poked her. Did I really make her that angry? Where did you use it? Right on the most vulnerable spot, the devil's spirit great white shark king's tender chrysanthemum. I only poked once, barely any force. Oh my God, Yuer, how dare you? A sharp, pained shriek rang out from a huge white shark. The beast erupted into a berserk frenzy. For dozens of miles, the sea boiled with towering waves as the devil spirit great white shark tore through the waters, its red eyes blazing, pursuing the distant, lithe figure of the azure dolphin. Shuyuer, I will kill you, the shark roared. Even if you are a red exam candidate, I will still kill you. Ah! Shui Binger, Duguyan, Chiruoshui, Yuhiro, and the others were shaken. They'd been part of a plan to draw the devil spirit great white shark of the annular sea, and now hearing what Shuyuer had done left them stunned. Meng Yiran's face went pale. She threw a powerful booster at Shuyuer as she shouted, My Monu Gentian Ji is a top underworld artifact, the #1 finger under the demon. Who taught you to use it like this? It's obscene, but I like it. The devil spirit great white shark king has been humiliated. Yuer, don't you realize you forced her into a fight to the death? Yuer is reckless. She's a model of courage for our generation. A terrifying scene unfolded. The gigantic devil spirit great white shark, eyes blood red and tail bleeding, chased 9 young women across the sea. Anything in its path, boats, reefs, was bitten to splinters by its teeth. At that speed, it covered hundreds of miles. Even water-familiar combatants like Yu Hairo and Gu Qingbo were outclassed. They fired spirit techniques and unique moves one after another to slow the shark, but they were overwhelmed. One by one, the 8 students were flung backward. Some were clipped by teeth, others swept away by the shark's tail. They weren't killed, but were left far behind, helpless. Eventually, only Meng Yiran and Shu Yuer remained, both using boosters to flee. Junior sister Yuer, it looks like she only wants you now, Meng Yiran said, glancing back. Although the other sisters were badly hurt, she didn't pursue them to finish them off. Why don't you run alone? The devil spirit great white shark was closing fast. Their boosters were running low. Stopping to replace one would mean being torn apart. Panic crept across Shu Yuer's face. Senior sister Yuran, no, we promised the Peach Garden sisters our family. You wouldn't abandon me, would you? I'm scared. Shu Yuer felt the killing intent as acutely as they did. Meng Yiran's voice softened. How could I abandon my junior sister? I'm your 3rd senior sister, Meng Yiran. Take this, it might save your life. We'll reach Purple Pearl Island soon. I'll hold her off a little longer. She tossed Shui Yuer a life-saving underworld artifact, then halted. A dark golden snake staff appeared in her hands, its 3 spirit rings stirring. Undead Sky Summon, Ghost Barrier, Great Serpent. Undead Sky Summon, 10,000-year Skyhawk. Undead Sky Summon, 10,000-year Devil Spirit Great White Shark. The staff shimmered. As the real Devil Spirit Great White Shark charged, 3 spirit beasts poured out from the open gate of the undead barrier. The first, a land spirit beast, was quickly bitten to death. The second, a rare 10,000-year Skyhawk, its age measured in tens of thousands of years, gave Meng Yiran sharp eyesight and aerial combat advantage, harrying the shark from the air. The third was Meng Yiran's 6th spirit ring gift from Lord Sea God, a marine spirit beast, a devil spirit great white shark with cultivation of 60 to 70,000 years. Though not as exalted as the enraged shark, it could hold its own for a while. But the summoning only deepened the shark's wrath. Ungrateful examinees, using the power from Lord Sea God to fight the guardians of Sea God Island. In human terms, you repay kindness with enmity. A girl's wail threaded the furious shark's roar. Oh, my tender chrysanthemum! Even Meng Yiran's expression cracked at that sound. Yuer truly was horrid. The devil spirit great white shark was female. How could Yuer do such a thing? Still, Yuer's tactic had been effective enough to enrage the shark to this degree. The distance is just right. Looks like I won't need to use the top-tier underworld artifact, Meng Yiran muttered. Yuer, I can only help you so far. If you run too far, she may give up the chase, and all this effort will be wasted. You've got to endure a bit. Let's see how you handle it. Ouch! Seeing Shu Yuer create more distance, and the summoned shark Meng Yiran produced be defeated by Xiao Bai, Meng Yiran decided not to use her final trump card. She charged in to engage the devil spirit great white shark in close combat. She was outmatched and was slammed away by the shark's jaws. Her body skidded across the surface of the sea like a stone skipping, sent hundreds of meters, a bloody gouge on her right shoulder showing she had taken a serious wound. She barely stabilized, floating on the water. Xiao Bai ignored her, instead pursuing Shui Yuer like a beast gone mad. I will get you, humans. I will not forget, the shark howled. Dirty female, vile creature, you took my first chrysanthemum. Don't run. I will kill you. Meng Yiran placed a hand on her forehead. Yuer, good luck. Now only the teacher can help you. Chapter 240, Peach Blossom Face Revealed at Sea. Devil Shark's Gate opens for you. Teacher, I can't hold on any longer. The Devil Spirit Great White Shark King is going to eat me. Teacher, if you don't act now, your cutest, most interesting, and most succulent little disciple will be swallowed whole by the Devil Spirit Great White Shark. Then teacher won't even get to see a single bone of Yuer. Boo-hoo-hoo. How can you bear it? About 50 miles off Purple Pearl Island, Shui Yuer's spirit tool thruster had completely run out of energy. Her speed collapsed, and she was quickly overtaken by the Devil Spirit Great White Shark. With her strength, she could have held her own one-on-one against an 80-level Spirit Master, but this shark was different. 100,000-year spirit beast, more formidable even than a Super Douluo, its devil spirit domain able to control the sea's vibrations across tens or even hundreds of miles. Still, Shu Yuer wasn't helpless. Her subduing waves technique allowed her to slightly resist the waves Xiaobai manipulated. No wonder Lord Sea God granted you a top-tier red test. You actually have the power to control the ocean, but the sins you committed against me must be washed away with blood. Unless Lord Sea God himself descends, no one will save you. Roar. Xiaobai, the devil spirit great white shark, swam in tight, furious circles around Shu Yuer. Water spouts rose from the ocean, narrowing Yuer's escape routes, and then a terrifying devil spirit light shot toward her. This wasn't a minor skirmish. This was the shark's true power. Even a common titled Douluo would be injured or killed by a direct hit, let alone Yuer, who was only an advanced spirit emperor. Xiaobai was furious beyond reason. For a spirit beast who had followed Lord Sea God into countless battles, to be defiled by a shameless human was an immense insult. She felt sullied. Even if Lord Sea God punished her later, she would tear this woman apart first. Yuer knew she couldn't defeat the attack, so she desperately blew into her sound-transmitting conch, calling for her teacher. Just as the devil spirit light was about to strike, clusters of crimson peach blossoms drifted across the sea surface. A peach branch flew through the waves and intercepted the beam, forming a radiance of blossoms that actually blocked Xiaobai's attack. Xiaobai's massive form spun in the water, staring at the sudden peach flowers in disbelief. When this power manifested, she felt something on par with the great priest's might. She wasn't stupid. She immediately understood and snarled. Despicable humans, you tricked me into leaving Sea God Island so you could find someone outside to enslave me, to make me your mount, all so you could finish your test. You're dreaming. How dare you do this to me? No matter who you bring here, even if you kill me, I will not forgive you. I'll never let you pass the test. Just wait to be swept off Sea God Island. Xiaobai remembered how, days earlier, this brazen woman had loudly declared she wanted a master who could make her kneel and beg to control her devil spirit. Now it was clear the testers had deliberately led the shark here. To pass a test, they had stooped to such vulgar tricks. She burned with hatred. "Little Yuer," came a calm voice. "What did you do to anger both gods and beasts that the guardian divine beast of Sea God Island would be so repulsed?" The drifting peach blossoms gathered and materialized around Shu Yuer. As the flowers slowly dispersed in the wind, an immortal-like figure finally emerged. When Zhu Zhuqing's face revealed itself over that stretch of sea, the ocean seemed to become a world of stars and peach clouds. A gentle breeze swept the surface. Sea spirit beasts answered from the depths, leaping in the distance. The moment he appeared, everything else dimmed beside his peerless countenance and extraordinary bearing. The ocean itself felt like a backdrop. "Teacher," Shuer's eyes lit up. She stepped on the flying petals and ran straight into the young man's arms, instantly feeling calm and safe. Being with her teacher was a comfort beyond words. "I didn't do much, really. Well, maybe it was a little excessive, but I almost died, you know." "A little excessive." Zhu Zhuqing's expression darkened. "You shameless woman. Humans are supposed to know shame, to distinguish right from wrong. 10,000 years ago, after my husband sacrificed himself in the demon whale war, I kept myself pure, and you bring such disgrace upon me. Even if the one you brought is strong, I won't let you have your way." "How?" Shuyer blinked, puckering her cheeks. "This devil spirit is so touchy and imaginative. That's just wishful thinking." Xiaobai hovered above the waves, tens of meters long. The peach blossom light cleared, revealing a face so exquisitely handsome it seemed carved between heaven and earth. At the sight of him, the shark's massive body involuntarily twisted. She stared, momentarily dumbstruck, as if time had frozen. After a long beat, her voice came out uncertain and soft. I won't let you get what you want." Inside her, a torrent of bewildered thoughts. What the? A human like this? Is he real? Am I dreaming? I'm supposed to be the fierce guardian of Sea God Island, a widowed mother shark. What do I do? Get angry, I can't. Why is my body so warm? What is that scent, so fragrant? Could it be love? How strange. If you think finding a handsome man to serve you will make me forgive you, don't be ridiculous, she added, trying to sound fierce. Her voice, though, trembled, and a faint blush colored her features. This is my teacher. He's the man who came to take you. Shu Yuer said proudly, grasping Su Zhexian's wrist and presenting him to Xiao Bai. Is he worthy of your devil spirit's approval? If it were anyone else, I wouldn't even introduce him.